Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for this Chelsea news talk show in regards to the Chelsea manager. Lots happened since we last come on. Lots has happened since we've come on, and we haven't really been able to speak about it. We've got a panel to join us as well. I'm going to start with going through the manager talk, the manager discussions. We're going to talk about who's supposedly now the favourite coming into the summer, going into next season's, Premier League. Jesus, I've gone brain dead at the moment. I haven't been here for a while. Going into next season's Premier League as Chelsea manager, Mauricio Pochettino is the name that seems to be coming out quite a lot out of the blue. Very quiet from that at the beginning when we were talking about managers. But all of a sudden, he's supposedly now the favourites. We have also had confirmations from the people of like Fabrizio Romano, who's also confirmed this as well. Nagelsmann supposedly out, Enrique out. Is Pochettino the one? Is he the right answer for Chelsea? Well, we're going to discuss everything in regards to Pochettino linked to Chelsea. We also got a little video to go through talking about Pochettino as well. Before we talk about Pochettino, we're going to talk about the other managers that were linked to this football club. Get into that. Bring the panel in. Make a big discussion with you guys, as we always do in all these shows. It's good to be back on here with you guys. Smash the likes. Subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. And let's cue that intro. People, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another Chelsea news show. And yeah, we need to catch up, don't we? We really do need to catch up on what's been going on in regards to the managers at Chelsea. The option of the new manager at Chelsea. Obviously, Pochettino is someone that seems to be building up now. We've had many discussions on past streams about Pochettino and our thoughts. Certain individuals of the panel are actually quite happy with it. Others are not. But we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about it all together. We're going to go through, obviously, the tweets that Fabrizio Romano brought out about Nagelsmann, also Luis Enrique. Does it mean that Nagelsmann is now... Pochettino is now the Chelsea manager moving forward? Is it looking strong? Yes. However, could things change? Could things change before we get to the summer window? Of course, maybe another opportunity comes through the door for another manager that they will obviously interview. I don't think that Pochettino's the only manager left. Yeah, he might have moved forward, but I also think that they're probably still looking around for other managers to obviously drop their module, their ideas, bring interviews to the owners. And this is why it was going to be what we always thought, a long-winded process to a degree, because it was never something that was going to be decided so quick. So we're going to get into all of that in a bit. Big up to every single one of you guys that are here as well. Let's go through the chat. Over 150 people here. RD says hello. Big up to you. Kemo, nice to see you as well. It's nice to see you. Surfs. Vic, what you saying, bro? This is top of the morning from the side of the world. Big up, Vic. Flamingo, nice to see you. Duff, nice to see you as well. Just get Poch ready. Just get Poch ready. At least he's good coach, something we haven't had. Well, this is the big discussion with the whole Poch thing, isn't it? Is Poch good enough for Chelsea? Is it the right decision in terms of module and idea from the owner's side? We know that they mucked up with the Graham Potter appointment. Yeah, he may have fell in love with the idea of what we were trying to do moving forward, but he just showed, again and again that he wasn't ready for the role. And that was the big questions of Graham Potter. Was he ready? Was he able to step up and take us to the next level? That obviously got answered quite quickly, with everything that happened this season. But, this is why this next big decision in terms of manager coming in has to be spot on. And not only do they need to understand it, but there's also certain factors that these managers need to have for us to be able to be successful long term. And obviously, it's the long term side of it that we're looking at. Obviously, we want short term success. I get that. I think we're built as Chelsea fans to want that short term success. But we can all understand and appreciate at the same time that there's a lot that's gone on at this football club. We have got new owners. We have got a different idea in module, supposedly. We'll yet to find out. They have ideas. They have new recruitment boards. They have, we have new players, young quality players in the team that we need to get right. It's just a lot. There's a lot that needs to be done in such a short space of time. And this is why I'm saying getting the right manager in for the long term will be good. But it's getting the right manager in. Brig up Sosa, Leo, Texas, Ashraf, Sean, Luke Foster as well. The game is on Wednesday, right? Is it or tomorrow? Is the game tomorrow or is it Wednesday, guys? I thought it was Wednesday. I might be wrong. Big up, Luke. Big up, Alex. Nice to see you as well. Mike, nice to see you. Big up from the USA, Jen. Big up the Chelsea. Big up, Mike Saunders, as always. Big up, guys. Do me a favour, though, if you can, while you're all here. Please make sure we're slapping the likes up. We've nearly got 200 people in here already. We always seem to lack the likes, the thumbs at the bottom, every time we're finishing shows. And that really helps the channel expand and grow across YouTube. And we need your guys' support to do that. So please, if everyone can hit the thumbs now, if you haven't done already, I really appreciate that. Thank you. No, they haven't hired him yet, but obviously he's a favourite. Fabrizio Romano seems to be the one leading the way when it comes to Pochettino, who we're going to talk about in a bit. Liam, big up to you as well. Nice to see, man. How you getting on? President Jafar, big up to you. Ben, Jacob Steinberg said Pochettino will get a say on what the money will he spend on in the summer. What type of players does he like? Big up. Well, you would like to assume to think that obviously managers have a say, that they can have decisions in terms of players that they need to get the best out of their systems. Now, what we've seen in a short space of time with Graham Potter is individual players coming across that do back the manager. So when you look at people like Marc Cucurella, who came from Brighton, obviously that was definitely a Potter signing for me. That's someone that I think he would have wanted. I don't think anyone would have turned down Enzo Fernandez of the level of quality that we know he is, and that makes sense. You know, Koulibaly's and others. And I think there's other parts of players in the team. I'll be quite honest with you. I'm not 100% sure if Graham Potter actually wanted, but I think it's going to be very important that the owners themselves learn about the mistakes that they've made in the past with Graham Potter. What did they do wrong? How can they do better? Because at the end of the day, them making mistakes is not a bad thing. They're obviously new to this as well, and it was going to happen. I'm being honest with you guys. It was always going to happen. We was always going to have a bit of an issue with that. But it's now about the owners making sure that they don't have the same issue again. We don't want to be down a year down the line having the same issues, talking about the same things because we've not progressed with the manager or we haven't found the right person for the module. And this is why it's so key. And the pressure is now on the owners to make sure that they get the right person through the door. Because if they don't, and we then find ourselves a year or two down the line still in fucking step one of what we're trying to do, then it's an issue because obviously they're not able to find the right profile of individual. And this is why the manager job is key, very key in finding out the right decision, the right person to move forward with and what we expect from them. Poch is not ready for this job, and it will be a bad version of Jose. Well, this is the issue with Poch. And I mean, we're going to talk about it more later. I don't want to say too much now because we are going to get into Poch heavily later. The issue with Poch is I don't think he's going to be given the time. And when I say time, I say by the fans. I don't think they will. Poch was like my fourth choice. It was never my first choice. People know this. Big up Gets as well. Richard, nice to see you. Over 200 people in a big up Tank. Nice to see you, bro. Big up to you, God of Frogs. Tosa says, sorry, but Poch is not lasting 6 months. People don't want to believe me with Poch. The thing is, Sosa, where I agree with that is just the backing. Will we give him enough time? And this is what worries me about the owners. I don't think they fully understand that if Poch comes in and we still find ourselves 3-4 months down the line struggling to implement and understand and get the best of what we have, even on the back of making the squad better, which it will be, with Nkunku coming through the door. We've got Malo Gusto coming. We'll probably have some more additions in the midfield. If it doesn't go the way that it should do and we start seeing progression on the pitch, he ain't the type of manager that I think is going to be given a lot of time. And then maybe that's partly going to be the fans' fault. But it's understanding that we're moving forward. And if we don't, as fans, see us moving forward with the right manager in place who's implementing systems that work, that's more consistent, then it's an issue. And this is why the right profile of manager is important. And it's not always about just having a coach. We've seen it with Graham Potter. We've seen it with Graham Potter. Good coach. Good coach. Yeah, people can call him crap, but he's a good coach. He'd probably do well barring a Chelsea job or a big job because he's just not ready for that. He'd probably go to a Villa or a Southampton or Leicester and he'll get him playing well. I don't deny that Graham Potter can do that, but that's a coach. That's what you call a coach. What we want as fans is a serial winner, someone that's got the resume, the CV, the understanding of having a structure and knowing that if he buys certain profile players and he puts them into that he can make it consistent, and that he can bring confidence to the players so that they can see what he's trying to do and it's working. this comes with all experience. This all comes with experience as a manager. Poch has his systems. That he does. Poch has his systems. But is he a serial winner? That's the big question. Out of a Poch and Nagelsmann, I'll take Poch, is what Jan was saying. Big up, John. Nice to see you as well. Big up, Jay. How are you doing? Steve, how are you guys? Nearly 250 people in the chat. Big up to you guys. Big up, Matty, as well. How you doing, bro? Nice to see you in the house, my man. Poch, nice. Poch will already be disliked when he arrives, so I don't see how this works for the club in terms. And look, don't get me wrong. This is not something that is now set in stone. It could change again. It could be that we find someone else along the road, and all of a sudden, it's maybe I wouldn't say a serial winner, but someone with a bit more of a CV and understanding one thing's structure. Like you just don't know. We'll see. I think we need to wait. But from the way things are going at the moment, it's looking like Poch is really hot at the moment. Don't rate Poch highly, but if he comes, I'll back him. And this is the thing, like, you could not want a manager as a fan, but it doesn't mean that you don't support him. Obviously, if Poch is the guy that comes in, I'm not going to support him. He's managing Chelsea. I didn't even want Potter. But I still backed him. Do you know what I mean? Like, you always have to back your managers. Don't get me wrong. Even if you don't think it's going to work or not, you've got to back it. But backing it means progression. Backing it means having a vision. Backing it means seeing consistency on the pitch, winning. Backing it means that, okay, we're going in the right steps. Even if we don't win a title, because we're not ready, but we get Champions League, and I don't know, we were in the finals of the FA Cup, and we win that, let's just say, but we finish fourth. This is the progression. It's the working towards that you need to see. And with that, it will, it gets better with time. But that's the issue. I don't think there'll be much animosity towards Poch, but there's been a lot of times between. But that's the problem. That's the problem. That's all. That's what I think could be a problem for Poch. But let's talk about the options of that were available and been turned away to start with, and we'll come back to Poch because we've got a nice little video clip to that speaks on Poch, 6 minutes long, from someone that I have a lot of respect for and I like. Actually, he's a good person, which we'll get to in a bit. But let's talk about Pies' tweet in regards to Julian Nagelsmann, because originally at the beginning of all of this manager saga, we were told that Nagelsmann was the man. He's the guy that wants to come in. Vivell wants him. Winstanley wants him. This is the guy that Chelsea Football Club have to require. Sources disclosed that Julian Nagelsmann pulled out after having serious concerns over the recruitment process at Chelsea. Nagelsmann was also understood to have been under the impression the job was his and talks were only on a formality. So, from what do we get from that from Mike Keegan? Again, now Mike Keegan's not, he's the head editor or sports editor at Daily Mail, which are quite good. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, if we break this down very quickly, serious concerns over the recruitment. Well, what could he have been seriously concerned about? He was at the Red Bull module. He knows how it works and what it was. Maybe he feels that with that module and then being successful in the short term quickly isn't the right answer. So maybe Chelsea as a football club, I'm talking about the owners and the way that they're approaching it, maybe doing it a bit wrong. We've already seen a number of young individuals being signed at Chelsea. Very young individuals, not players that are ready for them now. Players that were talented, being watched across Europe, come across, now on maybe loans and whatever. That seems to be the way that we're going. And obviously, we bought that new young guy from Colombia, I think it is. He looks good, but he's still very young. So what is it that these owners are setting up the managers for is the question. Because we are still trying to learn and understand the module, the project, the philosophy. We're trying to see it. We're not being told it, but we're trying to see what is it that we're trying to implement for the long term. And from what we've seen in a short space of time, we've bought a lot of young players. A lot of young players, and maybe the decision to continue doing that is an issue for managers that are coming through the door, because it's a lot of young players that could potentially not be ready for this jump to Chelsea. And that means then that we're going to rely on all these young top prospects that are going to have games across the pitch to then make the jump in, which we bought for like 20 odd million. Maybe that these managers don't feel that that's the right way for us to move forward if we want to be successful quick enough. if that's what we're going to, if that's what they want us to be successful kicker for, maybe someone like Nagelsmann's looked at it and go, hang on, like, yeah, I get that, but RB Leipzig and Chelsea are two different kettles of fish here. Like, you bring in the module to Chelsea, but then still wanting success quickly, potentially. Let's just say that's the idea. But your purchases are of young players who aren't ready for jumping into this new, into Chelsea and being ready to go, is an issue for me, because you're asking me to bring the best out of these young individuals that you're buying across and making it work. But he might want some of the now. He might say, well, look, you want things now, but then you want this, you want to have a balance. But so this is the issue, I think, with it all. Maybe Nagelsmann's looked at it and gone, well, and what you're asking me and what you want me in terms of targets to what you're actually doing in the recruitment side of things is making it very hard for me to, to push on, is what I'm saying, to push on and be successful. But then he goes on to also saying that he thought it was just him in terms of the job. And obviously, the talks of Enrique and what. So I don't really think that's too much. I don't think that's too much true, in my opinion, because we know Luis Enrique went for the interview a couple of weeks back and we saw it on Sky Sports, him going back and forwards. We know that other people like Company and other individuals across it have been spoken to. Would that really turn him off because he's Chelsea looking at other individuals? No, he could still have been number one in terms. But obviously, what we're putting forward as a project and idea to Nagelsmann and what we want in terms of him moving forward maybe just wasn't right. That could be a worry for us. Could be a worry for us as Chelsea fans in terms of what it is that they're trying to do moving forward. I'm not saying that's the best way to go about it, but it makes sense if you're trying to build a long-term sustainable team. It is, but I think if you're a manager that's coming into a club that's always been on the trajectory of winning and had a CV of being successful, and the owners are saying to you, well, we want top four, we want trophy, we want this, but we're going to be buying a lot of young players. So it is for the long term, but also which we want you to bring these young boys through. But we also want progression, which means I want to see you Champions League challenging, getting these guys up to speed, giving them maybe an opportunity in, you'll get one or two players here and there, but, we're concentrating on the young players that we want to bring through for later. They might look at it and go, but you want success early. So how are we doing that with that idea, that module? See, this is the thing, and I'm only obviously just assuming right now, but I'm just trying to give you guys a bit of an understanding of what it could be mindset-wise, and why maybe these managers, elite serial managers, are pulled away. Because Nagelsmann ain't elite and serial. Nagelsmann is still a very young manager, but he has come from Bayern Munich, a Bayern Munich team that pretty much had everything. Let's be serious, barring a striker, and was successful. So him then going back from a Leipzig model, which is what Chelsea may be supposedly trying to do, is what we're being told slightly, to then jumping into a Munich job where you've got all these elite prime players that want it now, and you're pretty much in with the competitiveness to go and do it. Maybe he feels he isn't ready to go back into that. Maybe he feels that that's the route that we're going to do, and maybe he doesn't want that route. Maybe he thinks a Real Madrid job might pop up now for him, or somewhere across the world where he feels that he will be able to be more successful sooner, rather than just being the man that can build a team up and get it going. And that's what could be one of the real big issues. Yeah, that could be one of the real big issues of why Nagelsmann don't want to come. I agree, Jim. That's why the hire is very important. It may be best for us all that Nagelsmann pulled out. Now we have a guy that fits the plan a bit more. Yeah, it's all assumptions. Yeah, it does. But again, is it the right? This is the question, Josh. Is it the right step for us that with a Poch, for example? And then we get the Nagelsmann news and we think, oh God, he's out of it. But then we get the second part of the news, which is what I would deem, in terms of CV, one of the where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. One of the most biggest sort of CVs out of all the ones that we've come across, Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique is out of the race to become the new Chelsea coach. No changes at all. It was decided on the club side. So that wasn't even Luis Enrique this time pulling out. Obviously, I think Luis Enrique's gone over there. He's tried to sell it. This is as per Fabrizio Romano's comments. He's tried to sell it. He probably wants a now sort of project. They're probably saying that they want a longevity project. Is Enrique the right man for something like this? Someone that wins things consistently on the now? Probably not. But maybe that's why we haven't got him, because we do want a manager with longevity. Maybe we look at him and going, well, he's good at this structure. He has the 4-3-3. He gets the best out of what he has. Yeah. But is he going to be able to bring through the youth that we have? Is he going to play the youth or not? Is he going to continue playing, the experienced players and, whatever? I don't know. Like, again, assuming. But, him pulling, not I say him pulling out because he didn't pull out. The club making the decision, from what we're being told, to not go ahead with Enrique onto the next step tells me that they just didn't think the module of Enrique was right from the interview to what we are doing currently now. And maybe they just felt that he wasn't someone that was going to not be even a yes man, but someone that's going to bend over back to make it work the way that they want it. Which you can't really blame for a manager that's been quite successful in the past with a system that he knows, he understands, as a structure and uses. So, Chelsea decide not to, from what we've been told, to not bother with Enrique. And then it's like, well, who's left? It's like, who's left? What do we do? And then we obviously get another one pop up, which I just found, I thought this was a joke. I'll be honest with you. I thought this was an absolute joke. And then we get the Luis Enrique one out the door, and then we get told about this guy. Guys, in the meantime, please smash the likes if you can. Please smash the likes. Vincent Kompany. And you're thinking to yourself, well, how does this work then? I mean, what experience does Vincent Kompany have in managing? I mean, if you were to tell me Pochettino or Vincent Kompany, I'd probably go with Pochettino. Probably, to be honest, out of the two. I mean, what would Vincent Kompany bring in terms of managerial experience? Well, all right, he might bring a bit of passion, get them playing a bit more and give them a bit of a shouting, which I've seen him do in the past. But is he, again, even ready for a big jump to a club like Chelsea? He has no real experience in managing a top club. Again, so you go down the route of Graham Potter because he hasn't got that. You're taking a risk again on the module on a guy that you're, again, just hoping will be able to get the best out of what he's got and make it work. Do we really want to go down the same routes as we did with Graham Potter? Because it's the same route. It's the unknown. It's the unexpected. It doesn't, for me, in any ways work. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Now I'm just finding it a little bit ridiculous and pathetic. The two guys that stood out the most, Enrique and Nagelsmann, have now, one's decided to pull because of, parts of not, I'm talking about Nagelsmann, parts of not agreeing the module of what we're trying to do and then doesn't like it. And the other one got turned away by the club, probably because they don't feel that he can carry the module that they have in place. Or maybe they feel he isn't the right guy for the future in Enrique, which fine. But, it leaves us in a tough position now. And it's like, all right, so what is it that we're trying to do moving forward here? What is it that we want from the manager when they come in to do with these crop of players? And how are we going to, how are they going to benefit from it? Big up everyone that's here. Over 300 people in the chat, guys. Smash the like buttons. We're getting to Pochettino yet. We've got a talk. Big talk on Pochettino. We've got the panel coming in as well. We're going to drop the link in over to them as well so that they can come in and join us. We're going to do a little bit of a talk on Pochettino. I also saw this as well, Liam. Celtic manager is not a bad shout, to be honest. Strong leader, just hasn't got the CV. But again, it falls down that same route. And maybe it's just the timing of it all again. Because when you look at the availability of managers that do have a CV, that maybe are serial winners, that do have a structure that, if you give them the right tools, works and is consistent with it. Maybe that isn't available right now. And that's limiting us as a football club. But then it's like, well, you don't go for a Vincent Kompany. You don't go for one like in the Celtic because you're just going down the Graham Potter route. Nagelsmann's not exactly sold on the module because he feels maybe that what we've sold to him and what we may be expecting from him to do is just not the right way forward. Plus, maybe he doesn't want to go back to the Leipzig module. Maybe he wants to be a successful manager now and kick forward. He got the Bayern job. Yeah, let's be serious. He had a good record at Bayern Munich. Maybe he feels he's ready for a Real Madrid. Maybe he wants, a club that's going to give him the backing to be successful shorter, which is not what we're doing. Maybe. And Luis Enrique is just, I don't think, fits the module. I don't think he fits what we wanted. They've probably sat there, listened to him, gone, well, he's a winner. He's got this, that, and the other. But is he going to bend over backwards to make it work with the youngsters that we brought in, the youth, this, that, and the other? No. you know, and maybe they've made the decisions on that between them two being bought off. Vincent Company don't make sense to me. And then we move on to who's supposedly the favourite, and it's trying to understand why is Pochettino the favourite? Why have they now specifically picked Pochettino to be the guy to run Chelsea for the next couple seasons? What is it that makes Poch work? And I'll ask you guys the same question in the chat. Let's just try and see if we can understand it. What makes you guys think that Pochettino is the right person for Chelsea? What is it that makes the owners look at him and go, he's the guy? Because it's a big step now. It's a big step in terms of who we make manager next. And that's why we need to get it right. And obviously, we're going to talk about Poch now because he is supposedly the favourite via what Fabrizio Romano has been saying up to this point in regards to him. But we've also, this is what it goes on today from Jacob Steinberg. It says that Chelsea are closing in on appointing Pochettino as their head coach. Pochettino is now the favourite. And there is a growing confidence talks with ends ending a successful conclusion. So I get why Pochettino is appealing to the owners. I do. I get why they look at him and say, yeah. Because you do look at what he did in the past with a Southampton and the Spurs and the module he had there, the project. The issue with Spurs, when he was at Spurs, he just never got the backing. He was never really backed. They had a good team. He had them playing very well. They were consistent. You know, they were fighting for a title at one point, which we as a football club stopped them from doing. He made average players, bar average players, actually look decent. Yeah, we've seen all of that. Makes sense, right? But we haven't got bar average players. We've got quality players. Yeah, we've got quality players. It's not that we need to bring the best qualities out of them. We've got the quality. It's just finding a system and a structure and a module that's consistent to bringing the best out of them and then giving him or whoever the manager is the tools to make it better. We know he likes a 4-2-3-1. He used to play with what's his name? Waganyama and Dembele in the middle back then. But we've also seen him manage at the highest order. We've also seen him go to PSG and in their first season ever not win the title there for the first time and struggle. We can't really talk too much about the Champions League because each and every manager that's been at PSG has failed. And I think that's more of a player mentality problem more than anything, in my opinion. A bit like what City have been in the past. But when you look at what he's done with a bigger club, the big question with Poch is he just a coach again? Or is he able to get to that next level, which allows him to manage a top club and be successful and be a serial winner? We haven't seen that. He had a chance at PSG and he flopped. Let's not cut corners. He did. So, you know, what is it that we're expecting to do with Poch? That is what I would like to know. And why he's got so far. He's not Gem. We've had many lives about the criteria of manager. Chelsea hires proven winning managers. Poch has none. End of story. Well, yeah, and I agree. You ain't got to tell me. I agree with that. You know, there's a lot of people that feel he is right. I don't think he is. I've said that. I'm not too sure if he is. I still feel that he hasn't. We've had discussions about Poch on this. We've had discussions about Poch on this channel already before it was even got to this point. Poch will work with them and doesn't demand much. Poch will not be under pressure or pushed by the media to win trophies immediately. Project transition continued. Yeah, but that's a problem for me. You know, we had the same issue with Graham Potter. What was the issue with Graham Potter? He wasn't getting the best out of what he had. They didn't really respect him. You could tell that. I used to go to games. They didn't really listen to him. He didn't really have a connection with them on the pitch. You know, the communication was dead. You know, Pochettino, you know, is he another one of them? You know, these are all if and buts. Spurs aren't a trophy-winning club, so I'm not sure what Poch has to do with that. Well, they're not, but you know what he did in that short space of time in making them competitive was good. We can't ignore that. Was good, but it doesn't still answer my question: is Poch just a coach, that can coach semi-average, say average teams or just above average teams in leagues? Or can he coach big teams and make them into serial winners? And can he become himself a serial winner and start winning trophies with the system that he likes to play? Has he got that in him? Can he do that? That is the big. He did. That is the big question with him, and it goes on to the next thing of Poch that we've got here, because Fabrizio Romano has also said that talks between Pochettino and Chelsea will continue this week to enter in crucial stages. He's the favourite to get the job since Thursday. Luis Enrique and Nagelsmann are out. This week's key to make the final decision. So by the sounds of the way this is moving and the way that Fabrizio Romano is making it sound, we're going to have a new manager very soon. And that's looking like it's supposedly him. So was it always between him and maybe 3 or 4 others? Maybe. Is there a great array of options of managers to take on in this period? No. Serial winners? No. So that becomes an issue, because you look at what's available, barring Luis Enrique. How many serial managers are available right now for Chelsea to go and get? I agree. These are all things that you can't ignore. And even Poch lovers, and there is a couple of Poch lovers in the Chelsea fan base, don't get me wrong, can't defend that. You just can't defend that. I'm sorry, you can't. They lost the league to Lille under him, and they're performing very bad. He couldn't get the best out of some of the best players in the world in his system. So are Chelsea set up right now better for Poch, just purely because of the players that we've incorporating and bringing in? They're young. They're not massively proven. Let's be serious. There is a couple in our team, but not like big hitter Mbappe, for example. Is his job to get is his job to get a system that works to just be more consistent and progress and make us more competitive? Yeah, he's going to have to do that. And then it's going to be about getting Champions League football, because we're nowhere near going to be ready for a top 4 battle. I mean, a Premier League title charge. Just because someone is interviewing doesn't mean they're serious candidates. No, that's true. But at the same time, for Fabrizio Romano to come out and say that 2 of the biggest managers that we were linked to are completely off the table, and now Pochettino is into the crucial stages, tells me that there's more to this story than just an interview. And that's it. That's the thing. And, we're going to quickly watch a quick video from Euro Expert, one of my mates, right? Big up to Euro Expert. He brought a little analogy about Poch and what he feels and thinks about him as an individual at Chelsea, why he feels it may not work. And I think it's worth listening to. Pochettino is now the favourite to take over Chelsea, and I have some large concerns. Here's the balanced breakdown of his time, particularly at PSG, and appraisal of time at Spurs. So what he's going to do is he's going to do what I've just spoke about. He's going to talk about the PSG, and he's also going to talk about Spurs, and he's going to incorporate it into what he saw about Chelsea. So I'm going to put myself on mute, and I'm going to let you guys listen to this and watch this, and then we're going to talk about it.
Here's why I'm worried about Pochettino to Chelsea. In case you missed it, earlier today, Nagelsmann was ruled out as a candidate for the Chelsea job. And all reports came out after that they're now focusing on Pochettino. And I'm quite worried about it. But I'll try and be as neutral as ever. The Argentine coach cannot be dismissed for his time at Spurs. Many will hit him with the never won a trophy gimmick, but the only reason Spurs ever competed for them is because of the work of Poch. Whether it was in a back 3 or a back 4, Spurs were extremely well organised and pressed very well. But in attack, they were splendid. You could see clear patterns in their coaching, with lots of well-timed runs, making sure Spurs wouldn't overfill spaces in the box, but arrive at the right moment. Poch built up Kane, Son, Eriksen and Dele Alli into world beaters, and what also impressed me was how he evolved. For example, in the 2016-17 season, Spurs used quite traditional fullbacks in Kyle Walker and Ben Davies, with floating 10s in Eriksen and Dele Alli. In 18-19, after limited investment, Spurs still were competitive with Winks and Sissoko in midfield behind Son and Lamela, more wide forwards. I mean, we get it, right? In 5 years, Spurs finished 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. He only failed to get out of the group stages of European competition once. If you're going to say he bottled the league or trophy, go away. And most people would say it ended due to underinvestment. With Serge Aurier playing the 2nd most minutes in 2019-20, it wasn't great. It was a weaker team that hadn't adequately been refreshed. But beneath that, there were concerns. Poch left Spurs having won just 3 of his 12 games in the league. And worse, against non-Big Six sides, Spurs had scored 14 goals in 9 games. In XG terms, according to Understat's admittedly slightly sometimes unreliable metric, Spurs were 14th in the table. There were whispers that his team was struggling against deep defensive blocks. And after a year out of the game, he moved to PSG, where those concerns only intensified for me. See, this is where I specialise being the Euro expert.
When PSG hired Poch, with them sitting just off top place in December 2020,
I was very excited. However, within a year, I was understanding why when Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, PSG were reported to be happy to see the back of Poch, should he be approached. Now, in the first 6 months, they were great, especially with their backs against the wall. With Mbappe and Neymar thriving in the Champions League, PSG were excellent on counter-attacks. Poch got them firing against first Barcelona and then against Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals, with Mbappe really bending his runs in a way that elevated his game. Now, yes, PSG did lose the title in 2021, but 1, Lille were great that year, as were many teams in Ligue 1. And 2, Poch was actually better than Tuchel in his own half of the 2021 season on a points per game basis. But from the summer of 2021, things fell apart. There were already tensions because Poch didn't even fully live in Paris. He was commuting home to his family who still lived in London. And then Leonardo did some complicated recruitment, to say the least. See, by the first game of the season, PSG lined up with new signing Jorginho Wijnaldum in the team, supposed to provide support from midfield. He could be the attacking midfielder in the 4-2-3-1, with Neymar and Di Maria out wide, helping lead the press. Sure, an injured Sergio Ramos was a pain, but it's fine. Until Lionel Messi arrived. His stature meant PSG were forced into a front three of him, Mbappe and Neymar, which meant, well, Wijnaldum was useless now. PSG needed a proper midfield to make up for the lack of defensive work from the front three. In particular, Messi, who was actually really lazy in the first half of that season. PSG did end up winning Ligue 1 by 15 points. And Poch did have to deal with a higher influence as well, as ESPN report that he was frustrated he couldn't discipline first-team players in the way he wanted. But I think you have to start criticising Pochettino after this point. PSG won the league, yes, but the 86-point tally, bar the previous season, was the lowest since 2015. It was lower than when PSG lost the league to Monaco. And their stats like non-penalty expected goals, goals, and shots on target per 90 were down. This is interesting because I think it's an indicator of something I felt and other fans felt throughout the season. They were very bad at breaking down deep blocks. Yep, we're back to it. As despite Pochettino believing in positional play, the idea players should position at equidistant intervals, as shown by the coach's voice here, his PSG team were terrible to watch. By December, there were memes floating around of Pochettino as a clown. And from anecdotal experience, PSG felt like a team who passed the ball around very, very slowly in the final third, with very flat attacking lines, waiting for teams to tire before hopelessly piling pressure on, until Kylian Mbappe would save them with a moment of magic. Now, that is shown by my videos throughout that season, the fact that Mbappe went supernova in 21-22, and by some more research from me. In terms of game state altering goals in the last 15 minutes, PSG were way up last season. Nice, Marseille, Rennes, Lens, other teams, they all took points off PSG. Now, there will be people saying that Pochettino had no chance to implement his own style. Right, but he actually came out and said the reason he got the job was because he didn't say he would adapt his style to the team. He was there to win, but he never really showed that versatility to his tactic. And there'll be people who will really lazily argue that every manager is doomed to fail at PSG. Please stop that. Thomas Tuchel, yes, was sacked by PSG, but he also got into a Champions League final and was one of the highest scoring teams in Europe in a really good system that played attractive football. There's Tuchel failing near the end of his tenure, Christophe Galtier starting well and tailing off, and Pochettino, who was underwhelming throughout his tenure. Now, Chelsea's biggest problem at the moment, as I've detailed numerous times, is that they struggle to break down deep blocks as well. The Premier League is the best defensive league in the world, and Chelsea can't score goals at the moment. So bearing that in mind, and the size of the squad, which means there'll be a lot of players who want to start right now, especially the likes of Sterling, Mudryk, Christopher Nkunku when he arrives. Pochettino, again, will have to deal with a lot of egos and pressure from the players. He's going to have to manage like he did at PSG. And again, unlike at Spurs, he won't have the credit in the bank. People have said that Spurs had a lot of world-class and thus egotistical players. Yeah, because Poch built up the likes of Kane and Ali from nothing. Combine that with the animosity Chelsea fans feel towards him, and I can see this going very toxic. I think it's very likely that his coaching is going to struggle for at least a period of time to break down these defences. And what's bad is that Chelsea only need a bad period of form for the fans to very quickly turn on him. So, am I being harsh? Is the PSG spell really that irrelevant? Let me know down below.
Well, it seems, from what he said there, one of the real key issues with Poch and his systems is the sustainability of breaking low block teams down. He had the same issue, supposedly, even at his late tenure at Spurs, as what he showed us there, but also at PSG with the quality that he had. And it's important that he has the versatility in his own systems, in how he adapts, and that could be another issue into what goes in with us. When we go into the summer window, we're going to have this huge squad, this absolutely huge squad, number of players, which he's going to have to pick from to then try and bring through. But then also, on top of that, bring in, because we are going to sign players. I do think we will go out and buy a couple of players again, just to strengthen just to strengthen in the summer. Big up to Ed as well, man. Big up. So my worry then falls down to the same things as I said before, and what I said to you guys at the beginning with Pochettino. Is he just a coach that can sustain a good system for a period of time and maybe bring out the best of certain individuals, which is fine? Or is he someone that can go up the next level and bring sustainability and problem solve when we need him to? Because at a club at Chelsea, like you heard, being at one of the biggest clubs in the world, playing in the best defensive league in the world, in the Premier League, if you have an issue breaking low blocks down with your system, you need to be a problem solver. And the best managers in the world of football always are able to problem solve and understand how to break teams down. We've always been able to do that with other managers in the past. And that's going to be the real big question. Is he the right profile to do that? Or are we going to find ourselves playing in a system that's noticeable, that does work against specific teams, but then struggles against others? And then we're going to be being frustrated, like he said, because we're not seeing any substitutions or decision makings or switches in the systems, which then make us better in the on the attacking impotences. These are the little minor questions that are a bit of an issue. Is he more experienced than Potter? Yes. Is he more experienced than Company? Yes. Is he a bad manager? No. I know I've called him a fraudicino and whatever in the past, yeah. But, there is some goodness in what he tries to do. My issue is you're making from where we stand as a football club and where we are trying to go, which is supposedly progressing each and every year and working towards being able to challenge heavily again with the right module, the right system, the right recruitment. Is Pochettino the right guy to come in and do that for the club? That is the big question. And this is why the announcement of the new manager that we bring in is very key. We have to get it right, because we can't be a season or two down the line, two step backwards again like we are now, because we've done this already with Graham Potter and we're meant to already be ahead in our progressiveness in 1 year. I'm not saying we should go and win leagues or whatever, but progressiveness in what we're trying to do, not finishing 11th and, whatever, and being out of everything, like at least have been pushing forward a bit better and seeing the quality. We're not seeing that. We're not seeing the best out of anything of what we're trying to do with these players. All right, some of these players are going. Yeah, they are. A lot of these players are going. Don't get me wrong, and that may help, because I do think this squad needs to be emptied. I don't like a lot of some of the players we've got in here at the moment. And they are a problem. But at the same time, you do that and you then go, right, fresh start, clean start, new manager bring in. You have to get this right. he has to come in and he has to really make himself authoritative. He has to be able to deal with egos. He has to be able to get the best out of what he's got. He has to be able to problem solve in between games, so that when we're 0-0 at home, because we're playing against a team that's got 11 men behind the ball, yeah, he can make a decision that then makes us win 1-0 or 2-1 or 2-0. And them little decisions win you points and then push us further up the pitch. And we then start seeing a consistent pattern in us and what we're trying to do. But if we don't see that, then it's a problem. So that is the problem. And this is why they have to get it right. And I'm so unsure with what we're going to try and do. Now, if we look at him from a tactical aspect and how he likes to line up, we know he likes the 4-2-3-1. See, this is a bit of a weird 4-2-3-1, but, this is what we do. And you look at what we were obviously have last year and how I feel he will set up. He will obviously have a goalie. I'll just put Kepa in goal for now. I think Chilwell will be a left back, as of Reece James, under him. Yeah. And then from that, you'll probably have Fofana and, well, if he stayed, Silva. Yeah, let's just say Thiago Silva. Oh, shit. That'll do. Right, fine, that'll do. And then you get into the middle of the 4-2-3-1. And then the most important thing here is having a sitter, because in my opinion, Enzo Fernandez will have to play. N'Golo, just put N'Golo Kante there for now, right? Just for now, because I do think we'll get a sitter, all right? And then you go into the 4-2-3-1 of what we have, right? Already, currently, right? Well, Nkunku's going to have to lead the line because we haven't got anyone to play in that. Felix, supposedly we're trying to keep. So again, in a Pochettino system, Felix may benefit because he gets to play in his best role, which is behind Nkunku. And then you look at Mudryk, who you're going to need off the left, and then off the right, Sterling, because I think Sterling will still be quite key, and I think someone like Pochettino would use Sterling. But obviously, we know we're going to look at a striker, hopefully, and obviously we're going to look at a midfielder, and that could be the difference. Now, if we do get a striker in a 4-2-3-1, yeah, and let's just say it's Ivan Toney, for example, in the 4-2-3-1 system, with a Kante not playing as many games because we'll have to manage him as well, and we throw a Latvia in there, let's just say. Where is he? That system becomes more balanced, but it's about having about him being able to bring the right profile of players in. Now, in a 4-2-3-1 system like that will allow people like Fernandes to be a lot more effective. And when you look at the 4-2-3-1s of Poch's, there's always someone in the two that can dribble or create in some way, shape, or form. We had Verratti at PSG. He had Dembele at Tottenham, who was quite effective with dribbling and bringing the ball forward and attracting players and creating, which made him effective. And in front of them, he had players that were able to create, right? So, all right, he had Eriksen and who was it? Son with Kane. So Son being the directive one, like someone like Mudryk. Toney being like Kane, who then links and holds the ball and plays well, etc. And then, and Eriksen ain't really like Sterling because Eriksen's a creative player, but, that could be a Felix if it ain't Sterling, for example. So, it could be Mount instead. Well, I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. I'm just put Latvia in for now as just someone as a sitter. In that, it could work. But then it's about then also having the right players on the bench to be effective, that when you're playing against a low block and you find out how to break down, that you can do it. Now, this team on paper should be able to break down a low block in a 4-2-3-1 system. There's enough offensive players on the pitch to do that. Does Poch like switching to a 3 at the back? No. He hasn't done in the past. So how effective is Poch with his formations? How adaptable, how problem solving can he become once he sets us up in his favoured positions, which is this 4-2-3-1. So, could it work? Could we play good football under him? Yes, I think we could. Is it sustainable? Question mark. Is it able to problem solve when we're playing against low blocks, which from what the Euro experts told us is not the case? That's a question mark. Is he going to be able to problem solve from low blocks? I don't know if he's going to be able to do that because we've just seen that, right? Is he going to be able to, make the right decisions in between games that then allow us to be, go on and win games and be consistent? Question mark. So there's just a lot of question marks with it, and it's like it's so important that we get this next step right in terms of where we're going, because we're already having to take another step back, like I said to you guys, because of what we did with Graham Potter, which we shouldn't have done in the first place, because we're now back to that position in theory. That this next step is important. But is he the guy to go from what I call just a coach, like we did with someone like Graham Potter, to then being able to go up the next level with himself and be a serial winner and actually have the adaptability of a top coach, a world-class coach? That's the big question marks that we have not seen from a Poch. So, Catch, how you doing?
Oh, I've been better, must say. But big up panel, big up Jem. It's great to be on again. I can't stay too long, but I definitely wanted to just put my 2 cents on this whole thing. I'd like to start by saying this first and foremost. Like, as far as switching games in at the end of the game, I don't think that comes down specifically to the manager. If you want somebody to break down low blocks, you need low block players. Somebody that can actually destabilize that back line and whatnot. We just don't have a lot of those right now. So I don't put a lot of that on the manager. I put that on the individual talent on the team. What the manager can do and what he can affect is how aggressive he is in that final third. Like, how many people are you pushing forward? How many people are in that final third to get in the box and whatnot? So I'm not necessarily sure that Pochettino's the right guy, but the reasons for that go beyond his footballing now. So it's just like how I just feel like for Chelsea, when you're talking about identity, how you shape identity is by like, for me, Pochettino identifies with Spurs. That's who he is. That's the identity of the Spurs. When you think of the Spurs' recent history, the most iconic manager they have is Pochettino, right? And for me, when you think about identity with Chelsea, and then you throw in like Pochettino, you throw in all these names that don't really fit the ethos of the club and whatnot, it bothers me, because now when I'm looking at it, I'm feeling like I'm not really as connected to the club anymore. Like, obviously this season has been tumultuous from a multitude of reasons, but I'm looking at Chelsea Football Club right now, and I'm not feeling as connected to it anymore. And then you're going to throw in a manager from a rival, like, regardless of how you feel about him, like, he is a rival manager and you want him to lead us going forward, and, it's making it harder for me to feel attached to this project, and it's making me feel as though what we have at Chelsea right now is just so much instability and so much indecision at the managerial level, at the board level. Like, think about what's going to happen when something like we go on like a 3-game losing streak, 4-game losing streak. You think that the terraces are going to allow for Pochettino to, play through 3-4 games of losing? Well, it just feels to me like we're just going to be, cultivating negativity, by bringing in a manager that does not relate with the club, like that's the worry that I have as well, outside of like the X's and O's. And everyone wants to be the smartest person in the room. Oh yeah, well, they're going for Pochettino because they want to do this and that. And that. Like, think about like just the optics of hiring this guy. Like, let's just think about that for a second before we start thinking about the X's and O's and stuff like that. Like, because before we start analyzing what he's going to do on the pitch, we have to think about what he does for this actual the culture of Chelsea, the identity of Chelsea. And that to me is in stark contrast to where we should be.
He's already come out and said that he struggled to deal with sort of bigger egos, etc., and stuff, which is quite worrying for me for his time at PSG as well. And when you look at him as like a manager in itself, my question still stands: is he just another coach? In terms of, will we have a system and will it work to a degree, and then we struggle because we can't do certain things, or he hasn't got the abilities to get the best out of this team and problem solve? Will that be an issue? Or does he have that next level in him to be a world-class, top-class coach and take his chance at a club like Chelsea and the module work because we give him the recruitment, or we give him a player or two that then makes us more effective. Look, I'm just very not sure with it all, and I just think that this decision's so big in terms of Chelsea as a club that you get it wrong again, and we sit here a year or two down the line going, "Oh, we're back to square one again," all the way back to the Graham Potter time when we sacked Tuchel. It's like all they're showing is the incapabilities of being able to actually make the right decision on the right manager to what they want to do specifically. Because it's okay for someone to go, yeah, I agree, yes, we'll do this, we'll do that, yeah, I can do it. We saw it with Potter. It's about actually having a bit of a structure and a module and a bit of a CV as well behind you to show, look, this is why I think I can help with this. This is what I can do. This is what I think we can do together. But I just don't know if he's got that in him, this in his head. I've not really seen it. But I'm not. Look, if he comes to Chelsea, I'm going to back him because he's a Chelsea manager. Give him a chance. People think I hate him. I don't hate him. The
only manager I did not back, President Jafar, was Benitez. He's the only one that has come to Chelsea within the last 20 years that I did not get behind him back. And it's for the reasons that I'm stating right now about Pochettino. He was just the exact opposite of what I thought Chelsea were moving towards and our identity and ethos was. And I feel like Pochettino has that same sort of I don't know. I could be wrong, but I probably wouldn't take the same approach to Pochettino. I just feel less connected to the project.
It's also the progressiveness with Pochettino, which is the key. Because look, we're trying to move forward, and each and every season, I'm not asking us to go. Someone said, "Well, you just want us to go and win things." It's not about that. It's about us moving all together in a way that we can see it as fans on the pitch and off the pitch. That what we're trying to do, even if we're not winning titles the first season or two or three, but but at least we're making the right decisions and things are going in the right way and we're being consistent and the players are happy. We're playing this style of football when it works and we're breaking low block teams down. Like there's a lot that needs to be done at Chelsea. It's just the thing that people don't understand,
the argument
but that would have been for any manager, right, Jim? I mean,
true. But the thing that I want to point out too is a lot of people say that Conte and Mourinho went to coach with Spurs. Yeah, because they wanted to be winners. They wanted to be transformed into winners. That's why they went for those iconic managers from Chelsea, because they wanted that winning mentality. What can we say about what Pochettino brings? What is it that is attracting you to him in terms of his football?
And sorry to put in, but he's the same manager that turned around and said trophies for egos, which is literally, as what Couch says, is direct opposite of what we think. I think that's.
Sorry, go on, Jim.
Go on, Matt. Go on. I
was going to say. Well, I mean, my sense of part is I wouldn't be my number one if he comes. As I said, I think everyone should get behind him, like we did with Potter, whatever. But he's not the guy to take Chelsea to the next level, in my opinion. I think, and what Couch said before comes to the identity. The identity is we win trophies. You've got to be ruthless. And for me, the number one was Enrique. Because he was the one who definitely wanted to come. He was the man who had his own vision, but the board didn't want that. That's fine. They want to go with Poch. Again, that's fine, but it's not, I don't think, relating to what we've been identified as the last 20 years as a Chelsea identity. Maybe, as I said, we're going into a new identity, and, that started with Potter, now it's coming to Poch, and I don't like that identity if we are, but we'll see what happens, man. I think, and what if Poch declines? Who's there left to be? So I think it has to be Poch. There's no one else to come. I'm not going to get that fat Australian from Celtic, man. I'm not going to get that guy or company who just got Burnley, at the championship. No, I'm not going to get those guys. So I think it has to be Poch. That's the only guy left to get it. So whatever, Poch comes, I'll take him.
Couch, I have a question for you. Would you have been happy this season? Just say we finish 11th and we won the FA Cup, or finished 4th but didn't win a trophy. What would have been more successful of a season to you?
That's such a tough question. Trophy or top 4? If I consider a trophy top 4, is that what's?
Yeah, say we finished 11th, but we won the FA Cup, or we didn't win the FA Cup, but we finished 4th.
I have a real connection to the Champions League, right? I have a real connection to it. So, for me, I would rather be playing in that competition than not. If that answers your question.
Because I think people are reading way too much into the trophy. I don't know who said it. I didn't catch the name, but they're saying what Poch said about trophies are for egos. He's not wrong about that, because there are parts of the question I just posed. Would you been happy if we finished 11th and won an FA Cup? I necessarily wouldn't have been super happy about that.
Yeah, but that mentality. But the only thing, Josh, that mentality from somebody that hasn't won anything almost screams like, well, you don't know what it feels like to win. So how are you can say that because you don't win.
Coach, I was literally going to say, it's like Arsenal fans saying, Champions League doesn't make you the biggest club or an elite club. You haven't won it, so you can't really comment about that sort of stuff. So,
but if we win the Champions League, but we're finishing like 6th, 7th in the Premier League, like I understand winning the Champions League is great. We'd all take a Champions League, but then that's not like a great season. You win the Champions League, but you finish 6th, 7th in the league. Like,
bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I take that every year, man.
I take that every year.
I don't think you would. I think you guys would be complaining every weekend that we're not playing great football. And be like, "Holy shit, we won the Champions League!" Like,
the end, it produces a Champions League. I'm more than fine with that. I can take that every year. Every
Couch,
year.
Can you hear me? I actually wasn't planning on coming, but I heard you saying, and like, wow. First of all, I think the manager, there's a bit of luck has to be involved with the managers, no matter where we go. Some managers, sometimes with the managers, it has to be a bit of luck to succeed at any club.
Oh, for sure.
So, and another thing, the reason why I was coming in is because the identity. You were talking about the identity, and you talking about identity, and as a Chelsea, I think the identity is kind of lost before with Chelsea, before. So for me, when you say an identity, you also saying the team identify with that identity. So for me, it was probably
but identity also starts with the manager, right? Like you're right when you say that the identity is gone. Like when I say I want to be able. When I say identity, I say identify. Who do you identify with at Chelsea, right?
I think I will go a little bit higher. Identity is stopped. I mean, we lost it a long time ago, but we completely lost. Like it's a new when we switched the owners. So identity of Chelsea is yet to be discovered. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No,
so
no,
for
no.
Me,
but I feel like if you hire Pochettino, it's putting us even further in the mire. Like, what are we trying to be right now?
I don't think like what I was trying to say is like with identity is actually. I'm not a fan of Poch. I'm not no Nagelsmann how good he is. The only person I didn't want was Enrique because I just don't like the way he plays the game. It's not.
You don't like Barcelona.
Yeah, and for me, it was the biggest two clubs that I hate the most is Barcelona and Liverpool. Those are the two clubs I hate more than Arsenal, more than Spurs. But first of all, I don't even identify Spurs as a Chelsea's rivalry because rivalry becomes when you fight for the trophy. It's not for the freaking town. That's like a freaking kindergarten shit. Like, oh, you sit in my toilet.
Gang related.
Like you're too close to that. For me, was that's the identity that Mourinho brought in. You see what I'm saying? But Mourinho brought in with the same ability of the team. This team does not have the freaking identity yet. And it has to be the manager to build that identity. So for me, it's really, really hard to say. Did anybody based on PSG and some level of what's the name? Borussia Dortmund, I did not want Poch at Chelsea. For the same identity.
You mean Tuchel?
All those superstars.
You mean Tuchel?
Tuchel, yeah, sorry.
Do you mean Tuchel?
I mean Tuchel. Based on that thing, I swear, man, PSG, I cannot compare Poch at PSG whatsoever. I cannot compare any managers at PSG whatsoever. Because they literally give the club to the guy, to the player. And try to manage that player. That's why I didn't want Mbappe at Chelsea. Because the PSG, like, here's your half of the France is yours, half of the Paris is yours. You own us. I don't like that. You should never do that to the manager.
Right. Sorry, go ahead, Al.
I think it's a little bit misunderstood the PSG job. Identity at Poch with Spurs, yes. But I actually thought of Poch as a good manager way before Spurs.
Yeah, good coach. But this is my question mark: coach, or is he a serial winner?
Hold on a second. I think you're skipping like when you walk. Do you skip or you walk one step by one? Well, I don't know how you do
Right.
it.
You only become a serial winner by serial winning. So it's like it's tough to say. I mean, like is Nagelsmann a serial winner? I don't know
But
that
You know
yet.
what?
Like
I'll change the serial winner to
Gents, let me have
level manager.
my 2 cents there.
I don't think
Tuchel
Nagelsmann
a
is
serial
the
winner?
top. Yeah, is Tuchel a
Yeah,
serial
but
winner? That's
the
the big
difference-
I mean,
question.
Tuchel's
got
lost
to
as many games as Nagelsmann has in 2 weeks
Yeah, but
at
there's a
Bayern.
difference. There's a difference.
Enrique, is
already.
he a serial winner? Yeah,
is
if you
it
count La
different?
Liga
Why
and
is it
the
different?
3 best forwards in the world.
Maybe serial winner is not the right thing
Difference
to say.
between-
Nah, maybe not serial winner is the word, but I'd say that the next level of becoming a serial, a top coach, because we saw Graham Potter come to Chelsea, right? And in my thing with him was the unexpected was that we didn't know whether he could be able to go up that next level, right? I thought we all kind of thought, we all kind of thought that it could happen, and others thought it couldn't. But what I'm trying to get is when you look at Graham
I think
Potter,
it was more hope than anything.
yeah, it was more hope. Yeah, exactly. With Graham
Because
Potter,
coach
he's
does hope.
just a good
Jeremy,
coach
I
and
think-
manage
Jeremy,
people
I
and get
think-
away with it.
Yeah.
But is he?
I think with regard to that-
the next level, and that's the question: is Poch a manager
Let
that
Jem
can go up
finish
to the
with it.
next level with the right tools and the right, the right profile players?
And that's why I ask you, you're supposed to walk, not to skip. I don't know how you walk. If you skip when you walk, it's on you.
Jeremy,
But
I
you're
think with
supposed
regards
walk.
to your question, is he a serial winner or is he a coach? I don't think he's a serial winner. I mean, there's no accolades. There's no accolades that's attached to him. So the word serial, I think the only serial winner that we'll ever have and we've ever seen was Jose Mourinho. It was in his DNA.
How old is
He
Jose? He's like 65 years old.
He revolutionized our club. He made Chelsea, that powerhouse of London.
Absolutely. No
Yeah,
doubt
how
about it.
many years of managing did it take for him to become a serial winner?
Streak.
Like,
He gave us that blue blood.
Well,
he
he won
made
at
the
Porto,
bridge a place
Can
where
I?
you knew
okay,
when you
can I-
came to the bridge.
I
that
ask
didn't
you were
make him a
going with
serial winner,
nothing.
Couch. That was the beginning of
So
a
he's
of a
not a
long
serial
career
winner. A coach,
Well,
yeah, he's a coach.
Can I ask you? Let me ask a question.
has to
Let me ask a
start somewhere,
question.
right?
Out there right now, logically available, who is a
Already said
serial winner?
I've already asked this specifically. What in terms of availability now?
Who is this?
No,
Yeah, there's no one.
Everyone has
There's
to
no
get,
one.
Even
everyone
before
has to get
Nagelsmann
that
and
term
Enrique, there
out of
was
their
not.
head.
Okay, so maybe not serial winner. Maybe that's
No,
not the word.
Enrique-
Oh, just a
Okay.
winner.
We're
Enrique's
jumping
a
too
serial
far.
winner.
So against, we're looking for pretender serial winner.
Well, no,
Exactly,
just
wanna be
right?
serial
There's no-
showing
All
us the
right,
makeup.
guys. Let's just call it winners, bro. For you to be serial winners, you're gonna have to do it over.
Okay.
long
Let me ask you
periods
this.
of time.
Okay, but okay,
over like a
flip-
So you're
20-year
looking for the
career.
origin of it.
Guys, let me flip this around to you.
Okay,
this
but-
is where I'm going with this, right? Let me ask you guys this. When Poch comes at Chelsea, what are your expectations of him as a manager?
Make Mudryk at least a decent player.
What
I
is it
actually
that you
hope
expect him
Top
to do?
four.
with a
He
team
starts
that's
slow.
capable of competing
four.
with 5-6 teams on top. That's the number one job. People forget that we're talking about serial winners. Do we have a serial winners in the team?
No,
We're
we
talking
don't.
about
No.
managers.
Get the
We're talking
serial
about
winner
the
for a second.
team.
Move
We
away
have
from
a
that.
team that cannot finish. If it was a girl, they never get the girl pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Euro Expert's video. I think if you just listen to the PSG portion of it,
I
he's
think
breaking.
Alex, you make a very, very good point when you say, do we have serial winners in that team? And that is one of the biggest problems.
Jumping in, man. Man was just talking, man. You have to let the man
Josh
finish.
was
and
speaking.
jump in.
Josh
Am I
was
on a
about-
35-second delay? I have like 5G. I
No,
should be
no,
okay.
you weren't, you
I
weren't,
think the
but-
guy does not know that. Like he has a slight delay. I think it's not.
Slight,
he didn't do
like
it
a
on purpose.
minute delay.
Go on, Josh. What are you saying,
Okay.
Josh? Go on. Go.
Yeah, no,
Josh,
it's
go.
like if you watch his video when he hits the PSG portion and he's describing how Poch likes to break down teams by pressing with his front three, and then you realize, oh, he has a front three of Messi and Mbappe. These guys are never going to press. So like that was his first mistake right there. Is like trying to go into a team with those two guys in your front three and make them be responsible for pressing the ball. It's never going to happen, which is probably why you see
And
Messi.
Josh, he did say that.
And that's the thing.
Yes, he did. He was.
And this is the problem. This is sorry, guys. This is the problem with football at that level, right? At the highest level. When you have players and personality types that have basically a world around them, it's very hard for them to buy into the whole pressing from the front thing. Like no team you can get, like especially the Mbappe, even Raheem Sterling doesn't even press for us anymore. You know what I mean? Like you have to get that buy-in.
Sterling presses
buy-in,
more than all three of them at PSG.
He does not press, man. He does not.
Well,
press.
he does not press it because there's the whole team not pressing. If you ask him, he will press.
However you categorize it, he does not press. That's what I've been seeing. And to get these he does not work off the ball. So
I said walking. He does a lot of walking.
No. Don't get me. I'm not defending Sterling. I'm not defending whatsoever.
So what I'm saying is to get the manager can coax those performances out of top players. A big manager. When you cannot get the likes of Sterling, you can't get Havertz and all these guys to press, then your value of a manager is diminished, and your ability to play your football is much lower.
I don't think you're going it from the right angle. All of you that comparison with the PSG. Like I said, I always said Roman is the poorer choice.
It's the same thing with Potter. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Lampard. You cannot get these guys to do the things you want them to do on the pitch, and then you're being faulted as a manager.
I think there's a missing pieces to what the manager is trying to do. Also, there's a couple of things that needs to be addressed with this team. It's because of course, it's the finishing. Because if you finish, all of a sudden the pressure gives away to the rest of the team. But that's not the biggest priority. With this team, biggest priority, it's pop the balloon because this team is over. It's too big. It's number one. Number two, the things that you saying, Couch, is significant. You relying on Mudryk and Madueke right now, right then, should start performing. I think they still should be a prospects in the team. If you going forward, they are still young players.
Yeah,
you have to play them less minutes than the ones that you're supposed to be.
Don't assume that I think that Mudryk. 1 second, Delano. I just got to redress that, and then you can.
All right, yeah, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't expect to have Mudryk and Madueke hitting from the jump. I expect them to be developed. Is what I'm asking.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So that happens. That opens over. Like that was the first thing I said. Like we cannot have a lost investment on Mudryk. We can't have a lost investment on Enzo Fernandez. These players have to elevate their game. They have to reach their maximum potential because the amount of money that we spend.
And I think the Poch is actually mold of this.
Right.
He struggles when he came to the established players.
Yeah.
That's when when what's his name? Sorry, Josh. That's when you start to with Poch. They have a problem when you looking for when you give him established players.
But
the ones that all of a sudden they have egos, they want it all, they want this.
Yeah, but you know what, Alex? You know what the funny thing is?
But that's why I'm saying that our team is not winners yet.
Yeah. No, I agree. But they have the mentality that they are. That's the problem. You're playing players like $200K a week, and they're on like their transfer fees over £80 million and stuff like that. They're thinking that they're already the finished product. They don't want to listen to a manager. They just want to go and play their football. That's the problem that we have. Sorry, Delano, go ahead, man. My bad.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But I truly believe Chelsea's suffering from Abramovich his craziest move ever. That whole giving players 1 year contracts after 30. The reason why I say this is because I believe you need senior players to play alongside young players to make them better. That's how Real Madrid beat us. That's simply it. They have senior players that know how to score, know how to defend, properly play the game, and then you have young players to back them up and fill in the gaps when they need speed. I feel as though losing Giroud was a horrible mistake. We should have kept them. Should have kept them playing along young strikers so they could get used to the game.
You're going for the different angle completely, man.
No. I'm serious.
No, I believe you. I just think you a long way from what we're talking about.
Well, Couch, to your point about developing players, like I completely understand that. And I think, honestly, when you have a squad built like ours, playing 2 times, 3 times a week is impossible to develop players. So you'll see, I think this year when we don't have any European football, we're playing once a week. The manager will actually have time to instill and develop and work with these guys to get a system going. When you've got a group of older players, like, yeah, you may not need that in between week time to develop guys, but when your roster is built like ours with so many young players, you need that time during the week to develop a style of play, develop a mentality, develop different things that come along to making a winning team. I think next year you give a guy like Coach.
My worry is that the egos of these players are going to make it difficult for that to be achieved.
Exactly. Those egos could have been put in check with older players that have won championships, you know. But now you got to run to run.
Name the egos, please.
I was gonna ask you guys about the whole situation when Josh was pulling up the PSG part section. And of course we all listened to it further. Does the weaknesses of him being not as tactical, flexible, failing to breaking down low block teams not concern you? Because they are the major factor at Chelsea Football Club, as well as egos.
My biggest, okay. Look at Pineapple agreeing how much I agree with you. See, my problem with this team is I don't see us going for the top 4 in the next year if we move in the way we move.
And we need top 4. That's how you get money.
So that's for me the problem. I think this is what I mean when you skipping, when you walk. I don't think this team is cohesive enough to even get to the top 4. You need somebody to actually teach him how to walk because the team is shit. And we're about to lose the most experienced players on this team, like Mount.
What manager comes in and is able to do that, what Alex said, right? But then also, in the long term, bring success to this club, just with one manager.
It would have been Luis Enrique, but Todd Bowley's ego is too high.
Well, I'd say maybe one Chelsea manager in the last 5 years that's been able to develop a system to break down low blocks. We've been struggling with this shit for like 5-6 years now.
Yeah, I agree. So
like to say Poch has struggles to break low blocks. Well, good, join the club. I mean, when you're playing with 10, it's tough to break down any team.
It's not just one, Josh. It's multiple question marks.
The low block thing is that's not. I don't think that's an issue with the manager. I think that's an issue with the players. We don't have players that are capable of doing that.
To be in the top,
the only thing that the manager can do is just to be more aggressive, play more players in the final third.
Yeah,
and to get the low block teams, you have to actually have a team that able to play better possession than those low block teams. So far, I didn't see no low blocks. Everybody low blocked us. They pinched us in our own back. Are you watch Chelsea this season? We shit.
I think the problem solving, which is what I'm going on to about with when the issue.
I gotta learn how to say shit like that, man.
When it comes
turn my I to an E.
It's not just about breaking down low blocks. It's actually having the about you to be able to problem solve in between games, so that if things are 0-0 at the Bridge and we need them 3 points. Not being able to just make a decision to just take players off for players that don't really change anything, but actually having the idea to be able to make a decision in game, which then creates and makes the players be able to play in a motion where we are successful. Managers have done that in the past at Chelsea. We couldn't do that under Graham Potter.
Which ones? Name the managers did in the past.
What do you mean? What do you name managers in the past? Thomas Tuchel done it to a degree.
Yes, see that?
Hold on a second.
It's almost
in the league.
Thomas Tuchel never problem solved.
Jim, it's almost like when Spurs were down 3 or 4-0 to PSG and then came back and beat them. It's like you would need a manager who could do something like that with his team to turn them around.
And could just see something and go, right, this ain't working. Let's change it. Let's just do this.
Yes, I agree with you. That's what Tuchel is. That's what Tuchel is. But it actually hurt him too, because sometimes you do overthink.
Yeah, but it's having the plan B, C, isn't it? In games.
Yeah, but this is what problem. The only problem I have with Tuchel when he plays, he does not have established plan A. That's the problem. Problem with what's his name? With Pep.
I agree.
No.
He thinks of it like a chess.
Pep has a plan A. He doesn't have a plan B. Tuchel has not established plan A. he always doesn't have one. He never has a same starting 11.
No, but what I would say with his time at Chelsea was that I think he done more problem solving with Plan A than he did actually probably wanting in terms of playing the system he wanted.
And that's why they call him a cup manager, because he does it game by game, but he does not in the long run. So the players do not know the long-term position on the field. That's why you don't see this cohesiveness, because he was changing them.
He had success
to get the cohesiveness, you have to have a starting 11 system.
He had success at PSG for 3 years because he won it back to back.
I don't know. I wasn't watching him at PSG.
I know, but what I'm trying to say to you is he's had that, though. He's done that. That's what I'm saying to you. You're saying he didn't have a plan A, but he must have to be able to win 3 titles back to back to back.
And
agree.
what I was going to say before you guys went on a little bit is like his weaknesses are like, it's not just one, it's multiple ones, like the tactical inflexibility as well as the ego management, stuff like that. It's a big issue at Chelsea. And if he doesn't address that sort of issue, we're going to have a Potter 2.0 where he's just going to be sitting there looking daft.
Was he tactically inflexible when he brought Spurs back from like 3 goals down in the Champions League against PSG? Like, was that tactical inflexibility? Or did he figure out? Did he figure something out that was able to get Spurs to come back from a 3-0 deficit and win a game?
That's one of the best Ajax teams at the moment.
Man, I just hope we give him time.
That's the good question, Deal. That's the biggest question. The fans, for me, is going to be the fans more than anybody.
Yeah.
If we have a 2 or 3 lose games, it's it, man.
Yeah, I agree.
All the Johnnies in the world, we're gonna wake up like the dead Walking Deads from the graves. It's a generation of I told you so's.
Johnny should be happy because it's not going to be Nagelsmann. So the yes man is gone now. So it's. I mean, I don't know who's his new boogeyman.
I believe all Chelsea fans have patience, but we just need to see an end goal in sight. And grandfather was not. I mean, but
patience. We have got the worst patience in the league.
I'm hoping for the best, man. Just let it happen, please.
See how Chelsea has spoiled brats.
Whoever will pick, there would be people moaning. That's the way Chelsea fans are built. It doesn't matter who comes through the door. Someone will moan. It's just
yeah, because majority of the Chelsea fans nowadays are the ones that watched us succeed on all levels. We haven't remembered that we got relegated. We have struggled before.
Yeah,
it wasn't around then. That's why, Alex.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's like it's their fault.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying like this is like if you never felt it, of course you're not going to be feeling it.
Yeah.
It's what I'm trying to understand is right. Is Poch the manager that's just going to come in for the next manager who's going to then win?
Possible.
Is that what we're doing right now?
It's possible. I don't think we're doing it right now because hiring Enrique wouldn't guarantee he's the elite for me either. He wouldn't guarantee.
Yeah, and he'd probably only be here 2 or 3 years.
And I agree with you, Alex. The main issue was him being outside of club football for so long. We don't know what kind of Enrique we're gonna get.
I think
he already came in with specific direction.
Yeah,
this is why Enrique got pushed away by the club, because I actually think he came here going, look, I want to win and I want to do this and this, and they're sitting there going, well, no, this ain't that part of our module. We want to bring in young players that we want you to bring through, and we want to, we want a longevity.
Yeah. So when coach comes in, you're saying that he's not. I don't want to win right away. I will win. I want to win in 2 years. That's what Poch says.
I think I think
it would be. I think Poch probably would have said something like, I understand the situation. We need to grow them. We might not win right away, and that's the truth.
We need to grow them.
Do you know what I mean? It's the truth.
I think people misunderstanding manager and the coach. We have a team that needs coach. Manager, it's what you're talking about, Jam. I think you need the manager. Yeah. You're looking for the manager. Right now, Chelsea, I think fans are split because they don't realize we don't have a team yet.
No.
And we need the coach in the same time as the manager. That's what people don't get it. We need the
Chelsea's
coach.
built like Chelsea's built like a European club. They have coaches, not managers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They have coaches. Even Ancelotti at He's not he's a coach at Real Madrid. Every other thing he handles on the field stuff and the squad in terms of training.
I hate to say
any other transfers is not done by Ancelotti. Yeah, it's not even done by Pep, really. You know what I mean? He's the coach there. So that's what it's built like. There's no like proper
egos.
We've got too many player egos. Can I? Problem.
Goes right. We have no idea what this. First of all, we have no idea who we're selling in the summer, right? Yeah. So those egos may go, right? Yeah. Okay, but maybe they need someone to come in and actually take them down a peg or two. If people are forgetting Poch, and I know Alex only said this last night on the stream. Poch came into Spurs and he tried it with the experienced players. Yeah, he tried it at Spurs with experienced players, and it didn't work. It didn't work. He wasn't starting Harry Kane right away. Harry Kane was only playing Europa League games in the fall. He wasn't starting right away. He tried, and when it wasn't working, he got rid of them. He got rid of the egotistical bigger players, whatever it was. He got rid of them and started going with the youth. Started going with Harry Kane and that. Started bringing in Daddy Eddie the season after, stuff like that. So I think I think you have to. I think PSG, you have to put an asterisk beside in terms of that. I know we're a freaky club, but that's a freaky club as well. Even more.
That's
so.
what I was gonna say.
Okay?
Roman was always like a cheaper version of Real Madrid, and PSG, it's like Roman on steroids.
Yeah, and also, can I just say this thing about where he said, what did he say, like trophy stuff for egos? Everyone keeps putting out an interview. Why didn't you watch a Sky Sports interview where he said he understands that big clubs have to win trophies as well? He said that.
And why is the ego is the negative thing?
No. Hang on.
Graham Potter said
Alex, we can't use. Hang on. We can't use the other interview to bash him. Interview and then go no, dismiss it. You can't have it both ways. He said it. He understood what a big club needs to do, and that's win trophies. So you have to put. But then you're accepting the other one.
You cannot dismiss his time at PSG, and that's what you're doing. And that's why I'm saying to you guys. Fair enough.
Okay, so why are you dismissing his time at Southampton and Tottenham?
So do we dismiss? Hang on. Do we dismiss Thomas Tuchel's time at PSG then?
Because that's completely different. We won 3 trophies.
Oh, so it's different. Why?
Why
is it different?
He was successful there. He wasn't successful there. He didn't win the league there. Lille won it. He didn't win it.
He did win it. He won the league.
They lost it to Lille.
Won the season after.
Yeah, he won the league there, man. You can.
Yeah, but they lost it to Lille.
Oh, sorry. Hang on a minute.
Was that the best Lille in a long time?
He didn't win the Champions League.
Are you saying yeah, you're right. He didn't win. He didn't win the league that Lille won because Thomas Tuchel fell out with the players on the squad. So
very early.
No, he was fell out with the director, not the.
But also, if you look at their league performance, they had one of their worst starts that season. So, let's not.
There's arguments for and against him.
Yeah,
there's arguments for and against him.
Yes,
we can
exactly
dissect it as much as we want.
And that's what I said yesterday on others when I talked to somebody. You use the one thing, but you're not accepting the using the same standards against you.
Right.
Jim. You prove the PSG. I cannot watch PSG, but then when somebody brings the PSG comment against you, you all of a sudden, but you have to look at it this way.
What is the PSG comment? You're talking about Thomas Tuchel, a guy that won 3 trophies there in 3 seasons, back to back to back.
He didn't start well over there.
He won 3 trophies.
Okay,
so does Poch.
He won 1 and lost 1.
Yeah, he was there for 2 years.
Exactly, he lost 1, and in his second
I don't
year,
understand. Look, I want to bring. There's a kid named Daniel. He said, Luis Enrique promotes youth. Name me one player.
Yeah.
Daniel in the chat. Name me one player Enrique promoted.
In fact, the main reason Enrique is out of contention is because he doesn't favor young players. He wants older players in the squad.
And don't be like somebody I know said, "Oh, Neymar."
No,
Like
man.
I don't think we could.
If
I
you
don't
know,
think
you
we
know
could.
who brought up Neymar and saying that Enrique
At the end of the
developed
day,
Neymar.
Old and you,
Chelsea
but,
appoint Pochettino, I'll back it. But I will still have my reservations off the pitch.
Of
and
course it
my
is.
opinion
You,
at this point.
Jam,
can't
do you
change my
think I'm
thought
not
process.
worried? I'm worried.
Like I've got big question marks on him as a manager. I do feel that he may, in many ways, struggle with the current squad that we do have due to the sheer size of it. I don't know if he's going to be able to incorporate and deal with that. Also, on top of that, we're going to have to recruit in the summer anyway because we need to.
The biggest
we do.
people miss a Jam. I think nobody in the past 3 or 4 or 5 streams, the people that talked, nobody brought the biggest hint of what's going on at Chelsea at the moment, and that's Thiago Silva interview. Nobody brings it up, but it's the biggest sight into the what's going on at Chelsea dressing room right now.
Yeah, and that's why I love senior players, man.
Alex, we'll be mentioning that on Casually FC in 2 weeks. Alex, we'll maybe.
Oh, I forgot that Casual FC is 2 weeks.
There you go. Shameless plug in, man.
Right now, fuck it. Talk about it right now. Talk about it.
I'm telling you, man. Please tell. Do you even know the interview, Jim? Why you don't bring? This is the people complaining about the squad, but they don't bring the interview.
Huh? You talk about the interview where he was talking about us having a system and the structure and getting it right and all that.
No. He actually put it on. We're signing the players without directions.
Yeah, he's talking about the I saw that. Yes, I actually spoke about that on here already.
Todd fucking Bowley, man.
That's that people don't get it. When the new kids come in, people think that they automatically in the team starting, and I think that's what Thiago Silva told, indirectly told Todd Bowley. You can't do that.
Yes,
you can't put Mudryk in the first and start playing him game after game after game.
It's bullshit.
You see what I'm saying?
We need to see progressiveness from whatever manager comes through the door.
No, man. I'm with Alex on this, man. I don't know. The problem is Todd Bowley. Everybody keeps on beating around the bush, man. What the hell is going on with this man? Who is advising him on how to run this club? He doesn't know shit.
Yeah, but again, this is the problem with our fans. Again, we do this all the time. I agree with he's made mistakes. Yeah, and he has made mistakes. We know that. But at the same time, he's been here 1 year. Don't be 1 year, just over 1 year.
Yeah,
can I have a moment?
We're 11th.
Like, I just feel like the whole, jumping the gun and going, oh, we know what he's trying to do, module, it's shit, it's not working, this, that, and the other is well too early. People are doing right now.
1 year he kicks out Tuchel. We're 11th.
We do realize there's
then a fucking shitty ass wizard to run the team. We're 11th.
Yeah, that's on them. That's on them. We know that. Yeah, and they've got rid of him now. And this is why I'm saying to you guys about the next person coming through the door being so big, and it has to be right. They have to get it.
That's what I'm saying. That's on that will be. I agree with you. The next person that has to work. Otherwise, those Todd Bowley comments will be even worse.
Exactly.
Can I have a moment as well, please?
You might have a moment.
The thing I fear the most.
Just joking.
Chelsea. I fear that Todd Bowley is just another Glazer, and that's what I fear.
No.
I mean, that's extremely lazy.
The guy hasn't been a year in charge, man.
No, I honestly, I fear in a different sense, because the guy's going.
So he's not a Glazer, then.
And we do realize there is an actual structure involved. It's not just Todd Bowley, and everyone does whatever the fuck he says, right? Like there's other owners involved, there's a board involved. Like I know it's easy. I know it's easy.
Glazer thing we take money off the club, and he's not allowed to do it for 10 years.
I understand it's easy and lazy to just say Todd Bowley is the only name people know, but that's not how the club is being run. That's not the guy who's just doing whatever he wants, making every decision by himself without any.
That's right. When you run a company and you're the poster child, guess who gets blamed?
Exactly.
The poster child,
right?
And then also,
as much as I'm very critical about Bowley, right?
Man, remove Bowley from the poster. from your room. Then.
From January, he stepped down from day-to-day operations. It was Vivell and stuff that taken over, so we can't really put
Let's
as much
listen to
blame on
Cyprus for
Bowley.
a second, guys. I've not heard a word of him yet. Cyprus, what are you saying?
Yo, guys, you good?
Yeah, good, man. What are you saying?
So, I understand the frustration. I mean, it's a difficult year. Don't get me wrong. We had all these things going on and mumbling, and I agree on that. And now we have all these things now with Pochettino. And I mean, I understand the question marks and all these doubts that we have to Pochettino because we know that he's been to Tottenham and we know how much of a bottle drop he was. I'm not going to lie, that's a fact. Come on, that's a fact. But let's get real now, yeah. We're at the moment right now where we're finding it very difficult. But I'm thinking that if we get Pochettino, I don't think we're going to be looking for a manager mostly for trophies. He's going to be mostly like a manager who's going to help us progress and build in squad morale.
Can I ask you a question, Cyprus?
What makes you think Pochettino doesn't want trophies? I'm confused by this notion.
Yeah, that's not my question to you, Cyprus.
Yeah.
Is what if you will put that starting 11 of Spurs in the Champions League final versus Chelsea team right now? You build the best Chelsea team right out of squad. Who has a better team then?
There's wanting and there's being able to achieve it. There's two different things.
No,
It's just people need to understand that.
Yeah, do you understand that maybe he could have won somebody else at that team, but he couldn't afford it because
I understand, but right now I need to answer
a guy with the necktie on.
They didn't spend for 2 years.
Cyprus. What makes you think that Pochettino doesn't win trophies? Because for your information, right, it's on record. He's on record of him saying he wants to win. He wants the glory. It's not about the money. He wants to win. So what makes you think that he doesn't want to win?
I'm saying for short term, maybe long term, yes, he can win something, but in the short term, it's not looking very possible. That's what I think. If you're gonna get him in,
forget about winning in the short term. You need to wake up and smell where we are right now as a club. We're not ready to win right now.
Like I said, Cyprus.
That's what I'm saying. It's double standards.
You like Jim. You're not walking. You're skipping. You wanted to get to the you wanted to get to the position by skipping.
Let's wake up to the realization that right now we are competing against a Newcastle side that right now has lots of money.
We're nowhere near Newcastle, man. Our level is Aston Villa.
Cyprus. Just to go back to your point, right? Look, right now where we are as a club, right? Let me just go back.
I'm just trying to make a generalization.
Cyprus, let me just say something, right? If it wasn't for Thomas Tuchel coming in and winning the Champions League, which no one predicted Chelsea to win, by the way, we weren't the favourites. As much as we had an amazing tournament, and yes, Tuchel won that tournament, that trophy, and went on to win 2 more after that, right? None of us expected that to happen. If that did not happen, we would have not won a trophy for 5 years, bro. 5 years. Wake up and see where we are. Wake up and see where we are as a club. We cannot, Chelsea right now, we cannot demand a winning manager to walk through that door when this club is not built to be winning.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say to the fans as well. I understand that. I have came up to this realization.
Hold on, Cyprus. But if you understand that, why have you got this notion that you literally just said in the short term, Pochettino, he's not going to win anything. But then you're saying in the same breath, you understand that we're not ready to win.
Because I want to make it clear for all the Chelsea fans to wake up and make it clear. That's what I'm trying to say. I understand that as well. I just want to put people understand some things because, there are all these people coming out and saying that they want instant success. It's not like we used to be with a Bangladesh. This is something different. This is a new identity. I understand that.
You just literally said Pochettino is not a winner or something. And Hassan earlier as well. I heard because I was listening in. I've just come out with a few calls, right? And I've seen a few people using that quote as well, misquoting it and taking it out of context. Pochettino,
like your Wi-Fi, yeah.
Maybe I have said something wrong, but I feel like Pochettino, if he has the money, if he has the support of the board and the support of the players, like Thiago Silva, who's like a leader in the dressing room, then he can help.
Yeah. Let me just finish the point I was making because I've seen a few people use that quote. I'm sure everyone's seen it floating about because I'm sorry, if you go to any single manager, I'm sure there's negatives you can find about any manager. That's Nagelsmann, Enrique, Pochettino, even Pep. No one's perfect, right? And I keep seeing people putting this quote up to say that you know, about the egos and the trophies. That was completely.
Hey, you got to put your
I
Wi-Fi
agree on
on.
that. Let's not get wrong. I mean,
His Wi-Fi died on you. I was gonna
yeah,
ask
I
him.
understand the frustration with Don, but it's my
Can you hear me?
fault. Yeah, maybe
Can
I
you hear me?
didn't clarify
Yeah, we
exactly.
can hear
Yeah.
you now.
You wanted to mention that
okay,
point,
he's
right?
another Arteta. Okay, I didn't know.
He was specifically talking about Tottenham at that point. He specifically said and reiterated it after, because even Spurs fans weren't happy with what he said, and he reiterated it. He said, "Look, at this stage, if you ask me whether winning a domestic trophy would be better for Tottenham than achieving top four the way we have been, I can't say that winning getting a trophy is gonna be the most amazing thing. I think right now what's best for Tottenham is to remain in the top four and continuously keep building, right? And that was with no budget. The guy was getting no backing whatsoever. This guy finished 5th, 2nd, 3rd, and 2nd or something like that. This guy had Tottenham in a Champions League final, challenging, right?
We're still talking about 1962.
More than one season. So
Was the Pep there?
the double standards with the double standards.
Come on, Jem. You like seriously, Jem. I think you're bigger than that, man.
Before you keep talking, I'm going to tell you what I've been saying the whole fucking show. Obviously, you didn't hear me at the beginning of all of this, right?
Please.
I will back Pochettino if he comes through the door like I back every single manager. If he's the guy that we choose to bring in, fine, I will back him. My biggest question marks for Pochettino, and they will stay until he proves me wrong and he's here, is he may have a module and a setup and a system. Will we play better football under him? We should do. Yeah, because he's a man. Yeah, he's a coach. He can do that. How far can Pochettino go as a manager himself in excelling himself into that next level? Because I think there's a brick wall with Pochettino. So what I'm saying to you guys is that I think he may do a good job in maybe nurturing an Enzo Fernandez or maybe a Mudryk and getting the best out of them. But it's how far down the line until we need the next. Wait a sec. How far down the line till we need the next step? Because we're getting to that point now. Can he do that?
Okay, and then when we get to that stage, we can have a different conversation. If he's getting to semi-finals continuously and choking, if he's getting to finals consistently and choking, then we can have a conversation to say, do you know what? We thank you for building this team now. Now we actually need a winner to finish off. Hassan, let me just finish my point.
Now he's
just a manager that's off all the other managers that comes in. That's what we're saying.
That's what. No. That's not what I'm saying, Jim. What I'm saying, because you can't right now. Everyone's Mystic Meg. Oh, Pochettino ain't gonna win nothing here. How do you know that? How do you know that? This guy hasn't been in the right environment.
It's the same.
I'm not. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, for what we need right now, I'm not looking to win right now, because it's not gonna happen with the team that we've got. That's why I'm saying you need someone like Pochettino to come in and build and consistently compete at the highest level. But in the meantime, whilst he's doing that, of course, I'd love to pick up trophies here and there. But I'm being realistic. I know where we are as a club right now. We are not ready to win. But like I said, if Pochettino is here and he's built something and he's built a system, and you can see players like Mudryk, like Madueke, like Enzo, all these players are still developing, right? And we still can't get that trophy when we're getting to the final moments. Then we can have a conversation and say, do you know what?
Jem, I have your fears, man. But my fear is slightly bigger towards the fan base. I don't have a doubts about Poch as much as I have a doubts about Chelsea fans. I don't understand even where this coming from towards Poch, because Poch technically
because he
never
managed Tottenham, and that's just it.
Hold on a second, but I don't understand that hate towards him, because he was never against like Benitez, against Chelsea like Benitez. He was never one. So I don't even know where that built. How you can cry about Poch when Mourinho went there? When Conte went there, there's no such a thing as the manager and the club. How you say it?
Fans, but I agree.
They did nothing there. Yeah, and Jim, let me just say something as well, because I know people keep saying match going fans, and that's something that I said before as well, right? Because in this situation that we're in right now, I was like, how are the fans going to take it? But listen, fans are fickle. If he's bringing performances as well as results, fans will change. Fans will change. Honestly, I don't think Pochettino will do badly like Graham Potter did. I know we're gonna have to give him time, but I think this thing is overstated when people say, "Oh, the fans in the stadium aren't gonna allow him," and all of these things. Fans are fickle. He's gonna come in. They're gonna hopefully get behind him, and hopefully, as soon as we're seeing changes, fans are fickle. They will change their opinion. I'm not saying Poch is gonna come in and win things, because he hasn't got the CV to back that up, but he has a solid enough CV to be a strong competitor for the job right now. And what I don't understand with Poch is the disrespect that he gets, the dismissal that he gets. As soon as you mention his name, that's it. You can't talk about Pochettino. You know how much I've been saying, Jim, right? In my ideal world, right now, of course, I would love for us to be winning and for us to go for a winning manager. But like we've seen under Roman from 2017, we've been going backwards, right? With various managers. It's time to cut that out, and we need to think of the future and consistently building. Pochettino has never been.
It's all about the progressiveness of who comes through the door, because I keep saying it and I keep stressing it. The next appointment of the person that comes in is massive for the owners. They have to get this spot on, but that manager needs to understand.
That's a fact, Jim.
Needs to understand the module and the projects of what they want to do, but the manager also has to go along. So if the owners are progressing and the recruitment's progressing, he needs to make sure he's staying with, because that's what Potter didn't do. He was still down here.
Jim, I think you're missing another piece of information that people misunderstand, or that people don't bring on the streams. There's another piece of information came that Todd Bowley was brought to the red carpet of the consortium, and he had to answer the questions. Remember where he answered the question? Mistake have been made in the first year. Todd Bowley, people forget that Todd Bowley is not the main person on that custodian. There's the people that invested. I don't think he invested even like $1 billion.
Yeah,
there's people that own the club. He's just the face. There's not hard to kick the CEO out.
And Jeff, just on the point. Just on the point I was making before you sort of came in there, the point I was making with Poch is that I do get it, because look, I've got the same when it comes to reservations. I'm gonna have reservations about Poch, because I've seen this guy go to a Champions League final and make a stupid decision in starting Harry Kane when Lucas Moura just scored you a hat trick. I've seen that happen. He was never gonna beat Conte in that final of the League Cup. So I'm not gonna beat him up about it too much, right? But when it comes to saying Poch has hit this brick wall, I think that's just unfair to say, because personally, I don't think that he's been in the right environment ever, right? Because when you go to Tottenham and you're doing what you're doing on a strict budget, Levy, look how many managers this guy is. This guy doesn't invest in. This guy doesn't want to invest in anything. And in the end, let me just finish my point, bro. In the end, Pochettino, right, ended up having enough, because he would never come out in public and say and talk badly on them. But in the end, he had enough. And what happened? He got sacked, right? Pochettino would have definitely taken Spurs to the next level if he was getting that backing fully. And PSG, like Alex said as well, with PSG, you don't pick who comes in. They build that super team for you, and they say, go out there and win us the Champions League. They've done that with every single manager.
As a matter of fact, hold on a second. To add to you, that PSG team that he bought it, to realize how bad it was, he had to go and get somebody that he can trust in that midfield to substitute that pressing game at top three. Wijnaldum. He had to be. You see what I'm saying? Out of those front three, was nobody do the job up top. Nobody.
But that's why when Messi come in, it completely affected Wijnaldum's job role completely, because they were forced to play free, and that's what you're an expert.
And on PSG as well, like I get it. The first year when he came in there, he didn't win the league, right? He came in when they were third in February, and Tuchel, by the way, left them in third, right? And Lille were having an amazing. I remember that year, because I used to see
Lille had an amazing year that year, man.
Amazing year. They had an amazing year that year, and then the following year, he won the league by 15 points with all these egos that he apparently can't work with.
But people don't ask the question, why every manager at PSG expected to win the league with no comments? Why is that a thing? Let me tell you why. Because there's no competition, usually.
Well, it's a lot stronger now, isn't it? It was. You're right. It's a lot
stronger. So everybody puts it on Poch because they know that the league is not competitive compared to the PSG.
When it comes to the visual of Poch, when you look at what he's done up to this point, I think I can understand what you are saying, but I also think that there's both sides to this story with him. And this is the problem. I don't think there's no issue with people looking at him and going, actually, I'm not too sure because of A, B, C, and D, how I've been a little bit, or the way Don's looking at it, or Alex, or Winter Server's looking at it, which is fine. I just think that when he comes into Chelsea, there's got to be an expectation of progressiveness in what we're trying to do as a club. And that's the issue. That's what I'm saying.
And do you think Poch doesn't know that? He knows the level of Chelsea.
Yeah, that's fine. But
And Jem, don't get it twisted as well. Don't get it twisted, Jem. I'm not sitting here saying that Pochettino needs the same amount of time as what Mikel Arteta did, because this team right now, right, with a few more additions in this team and trimming it completely, you've got an amazing team to work with, and it's definitely looking like a Pochettino team as well, because it's quite attacking. It's only going to get stronger. So I'm not saying, you know, I'm expecting him to. I'm not giving a timescale of winning a trophy, like, oh, you have to win the Champions League within the next 3 years. You have to win the league within the next 3 years.
Even Potter would have got more time if he wouldn't do 2-20. If he would have done 10-10, he will still be at the job.
I agree.
There's no way for me is the problem is the given time manager. There's the managers. I don't believe it's for me the biggest problem is always will be hiring and firing the wrong style of manager. For example, if we got Tuchel, then Potter, and now we're gonna get Conte again, that will be the biggest red flag on the planet. That will show me they have no clue what they're doing.
And that's why the owners specifically now have to make sure that with their module.
Yes, but least coach doesn't play counter-attacking style to the opposite of how we used to be playing. You have to bring managers that consistently improve you as the manager.
That's what I've been saying the whole show.
Nobody just cares what you say, Jim. I'm just here to please you, Jim.
I want to add before I agree with what you say.
You said pause before I tried to correct myself.
Go on, Declared. What are you going to say? You hate Pochettino. Crap. Get him out the door. He's a fraud, Pochettino. Go on. What are you saying?
No, I think any manager that comes in has a big task. I think what you guys are measuring up is the patience of the fan. That's the only thing. Whatever manager we get, I think our patience is cut short. I think everyone was really patient with Potter because we never gave time to a manager, and everyone was willing to give blind faith to Potter. And I think just how badly we've done now,
he's
and the way the
preseason is like, "Oh, I told you so, guy." I hate that.
You profiling the fans before, Alex. So don't really come
profile
out.
You more.
Yeah. Hey, you better tick those "I told you so's," yeah, because I've been getting them tack on, mate. I should make a video with
I ain't your mate. I ain't kangaroo.
Hey, you wish you were.
Did it should with these super chat? Arteta built leaders in the youth. Poch can do that, is what he said there. Go on, Declared. Big up to you, Disham.
Yeah, I think the issue I'm having, right? I think the club's going to give whichever manager comes in more time. Is what's with the shortlist, and why are some managers looking at the project and
saying no,
not being all there? Do you know what I mean? Shouldn't they
shortlist
have other managers?
Just one manager.
It was just Nagelsmann.
Well, do you count Tuchel in that too?
No.
Apparently, Tuchel wasn't up for that project.
I can give you. Let me give you an example. Hold on a second. Let me give you something conspiracy theory.
They didn't say eye to eye, right? If we take out the other conspiracies, one of the outcome, like one of the things that Bowley came out and said is that we didn't see eye to eye. So if he wasn't, if that was actually true, what he said, then maybe he didn't like the way Bowley wanted to do things as well. We have no idea about his project. That's the other thing, right? One manager, but why isn't there other managers there? Like, why is the Aussie guy there? Bro, that shocked me. And now everyone ripped on him too. He's not right.
I don't think that. Look, maybe because somebody from Australia wanted to make a calm. I wouldn't be surprised if it's you. But let me tell you, like conspiracy theories. Let me tell you a conspiracy theory. The way that ended between Todd Bowley camp and Tuchel was supposedly not the drugs, but supposedly the conversation and the WhatsApp. Guess what's the reason Nagelsmann walked away? Because he said there's too many conversation. He thought that one interview, two interview, job is mine.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works, is it?
Also the recruitment policy as well, apparently.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Enrique. I still don't see Daniel answer me, naming me one player in the chat that Enrique Iglesias brought from youth. I'm still looking for you, Daniel, but you know where to be found. But
Petri that
another
go through?
thing, Nagelsmann has the same risk percentage as Potter.
I would say for me the point I was making before when we spoke about managers, the main thing that because with me I look at Nagelsmann, I look at Poch, they're pretty much the same for me, right? But the main thing that I was looking at is the fact that Pochettino has done it in the league, and I've seen it firsthand week after week.
I'm not. I agree with you because I all the way agree with you because I see him more, not because I don't. I'm not watching Avi, Gavi.
You can't ignore Nagelsmann's record at Bayern Munich though. He got sacked.
You're
on the back
joking,
of
Daniel.
You can't. But where it is, Jemmy, like I know Andrew hates the yes man notion, and I hate it as well because end of the day, right? Even let's take away from football, okay? If you're working in a business, right, and you're a director, and there's board members ahead of you, right? If you don't see the same vision, you're not going to last long at that company. That doesn't mean you're a yes man. You need to be on the same page.
Yeah,
you need to be on the same page.
As a yes man.
Cool. There's no such thing as a yes man. Tuchel wasn't on the same page with Bowley. Long term, it wasn't going to work. For me, that sacking, it was done a little bit too soon. They should have waited for Vivell and that to come in, and then you sack him, because you can't sack him and then go on Graham Potter. You cannot do that.
Yeah,
right.
That's the fact.
That's
the biggest problem I have with Todd Bowley.
You know, with your analogy, I think.
Hold on, Declare. Let me just finish, bro. Let me just finish my point, yeah, before I forget. And then with same thing with Nagelsmann, there's a few things that he apparently came out and didn't fully agree with, right? What you want when it comes to the manager and a coach and the ownership, you want it to go hand in hand.
I wouldn't be upset
they're
if
not,
you get.
They're not gonna agree with everything, because I don't expect them to. But you want them to have the same vision or to be aligned in the same perimeter, right? And if that doesn't happen, there's gonna be problems. There's gonna be problems, right? Look at Pep, look at Mikel and Edu. Look at their recruitment. You can see, like, when I don't know if you guys have watched the documentary, the Arsenal documentary. You can see that they're on the same page. They're working together. Look where they are. They're competing for the league way above.
Let me tell you one thing that actually I think people misunderstanding what actually happening at Chelsea. Yes, man, it's not what it used to be, because yes, man only works with one specific owner. We do not specific owner. As a matter of fact, we have three people that the ones that do it. People would like to actually ignore the facts that actually there. That Todd Bowley is just the face. He does it mad things sometimes by walking to the dressing room. If I was the Tuchel, I would do the same thing and slam the door in front of his face. But that's not the problem with Chelsea, but thinking that that's how it is. We actually have custodian, and the reason why that custodian is to take the pressure from the managers. Because when manager asks for a specific player, that player has to be performing. Otherwise, it's solely on a manager. And you cannot build the team based on one. Do you understand? What's his name? Lakaka. What's the problem with Lakaka?
You got to build around him.
Yes. The problem is Abramovich actually went over the recommendations and did his own mad thing. Like he used to do it with a couple of players when he had, you see what I'm saying? He wanted to, as a matter of fact, that what's his name? He wanted to please Tuchel so bad and give him he literally went and did it, even though he actually heard it. That's why we have custodian nowadays. So the managers of new generations will be coming. The reason why they have those custodian is because you cannot solely only depend on the managers. Manager is the one person you can fire. You cannot fire the whole team, Jam. If you buy the players for the manager specifically only, the next manager has to be identical as your previous manager. If that's what you think is going on at City, good luck to them when Pep leaving, because he ain't gonna be there's no person in the world.
How long's Pep been there?
If you think Pep is picking
a long time though, isn't it? That's the thing I would say.
Pep can recommend, but Pep ain't picking the names. I can tell you that, because if Pep was picking the names, Haaland wouldn't be there.
The names. Well, it looks like a mistake now. But Don, I want to quickly add. You know how you described it as a business, and with Alex, even without the consortium, they've set up a structure with Ruth Stanley, even Vivell. I think one of the big issues at Chelsea, and probably why we're not getting that attraction, is that the structure that they have, the manager is pretty low on that structure. Right?
Kotler,
There's so many
Pep
people.
is the same as Pep. Those are
No,
jokes.
Pep, I think Pep has a higher and more power in that club, and a lot of other managers I think a bit more closer. But the way Bowley wants it, we have so many. We have not even like Vivell is under 2 people. He's not even like up there with the technical director. We Stanley there and the other 2, the Brighton guys, and then Vivell's the bottom. And the reason for this structure is because there's more clubs. He wants to bring more. You know, it's the Red Bull model.
I'll
the
address your
Chelsea
comment,
Global
Vic, in a second.
Yeah, so I think a lot of managers are looking at it and looking how low they're on the structure, and I think that might be one of the put-offs on one of his jobs. That's why some of the up-and-coming names have always
declared what you get when the manager's making all of these decisions, especially when it comes to recruitment. And let me just say one thing as well: Pochettino's talent ID isn't great. Right, the other day I was in a group chat. A Spurs fan mentioned it.
Isn't great.
He brought in Lo Celso and what's his name? What's the guy that's got Napoli on loan? I forgot his name now.
What about why you not question he's in Southampton? Because that's how we actually are. This is Chelsea, Southampton. They have a separate recruitment team from the team.
Yeah, Southampton, one of the best. We should have bought them out, not Brighton's.
That's what I'm saying. Southampton is the Chelsea. They have a separate recruitment. That's why everybody always go for the players.
Yeah. But I'm talking about recently with the players that he brought in at Spurs, right? But anyway, that's not the point that I was making. The point that I was making when I'm talking about what do you call it? Like letting the manager have all the authority on the signings is you're gonna have a situation where we've got players from Sarri, we've got players from Conte, we've got players from Tuchel all in the same team, and that's gonna be a problem. I would rather the model that we're looking at now, where we've got a recruitment team that are looking at players, they get presented to the manager most of the time. And I'm sure that the manager, if he's got reservations about them, I'm sure he's going to speak up. He's not going to say, yeah, that's it. Like, I'll take him. I'm sure there's players like Jem said earlier on the stream that Graham Potter didn't want. But if you're looking at it, I'd rather that have that model instead of a model where you've got, X amount of players from different systems, from different systems. Because that's why we're in
no. He actually got a good question.
As important as you just said in regards to as it is in regards to the manager and him coming in, I think it's also equally important in the summer about how many players we actually let go as well, the outgoings.
That's the biggest problem for Chelsea, not the teams that coming in. Vic's question: we should have. Vic, I don't think you realize that we actually not finished. There's one director spot that's not filled yet, and we actually going for that guy that used to be at Liverpool. Remember that guy?
Yeah,
that's the one that you're talking about, which is the long-term director.
I think you might sit at the top. That guy.
Yeah. That guy is supposed to be on the top of Vivell and everybody else.
And that's the big thing, isn't it? If they're going to do that, to be fair,
that's the structure. I just think people don't know that.
That was my thing about I think managers pretty low on that structure, and it might be not appealing. Like I think something that you guys didn't maybe touch on. I think always when everyone was discussing of the trio, Enrique, Poch, and Nagelsmann, they all had their pros and cons for me. But I think the fact when you got young players that we invested so much on 6 to 8 year contracts, right? I think my biggest priority before winning trophies is to make sure these players become
successful.
The players,
because that's a bad investment, man.
Because if they're not, it doesn't matter which manager we get. Yeah. If these players flop, we're done for almost a decade. You can't. That's not easy to reverse.
That's how much we need the coach.
Yeah, and need one that can actually work with some youth. And I agree with some people mentioned about experienced players. That always helps, but that should be the priority. It's why I kind of was. It was my con on Enrique because I felt like he didn't do that, and he needed certain type of players to play a certain way. Yeah. That's why I was a bit awful Nagelsmann and Poch because I've seen him do it. I feel happy that they're going to come in, and even if they fail at the top, right? They get there. At least they've made the team, right? And we have a good team for any manager to come in. Because if we have a team that's flopped, players didn't fulfill their potential, then doesn't matter which manager you keep bringing in, we're
loss
just
of
going to
return.
fail.
Yeah,
Jim, let me ask you a question. Any managers that on the list for us to get it, any of those managers made the how you say it, made the what's the word, like
Impact or
made how you say it, leaders? Which one of those managers create a leader from the player?
Enrique with when he had his time in Barcelona, but that was already set and made in many ways. But when you talk about someone
There's
like
no
Busquets
leaders. I
or
can
Piqué,
tell you Wijnaldum. I can tell you what's his name, Southampton. When I actually credit Poch more from Southampton days than at the Tottenham, because Tottenham it's not fair to the guy. The guy was done by that.
Alex, no, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because you're referring to Southampton. What did you think of Nathaniel Klein under Pochettino at Southampton? What did you think of him? What did you think of him, Alex? What did you think of Klein at Southampton under Poch? What did you think of him?
What did Liverpool went after him because of that?
What did you think of him? What's your opinion of Nathaniel Klein?
Nothing. The guy had a pace and good cross.
There you go.
You didn't rate him. You didn't rate him at the time,
no?
Well, you're the only one that rates him and uses it in your
Nah.
It's weird. It's such a weird argument using
it's not a weird argument because Nathaniel Klein was literally one of the best right backs at Southampton.
At the time, yes. That's why Liverpool went after him.
And that's the question I just asked you. What did you think of Nathaniel Klein?
You're talking about this. I thought you were talking about completely player. Like
no. I'm talking about Southampton. At Southampton.
That's what I'm trying to tell Jim. You gotta look at with our squad, and you're saying about the spine, and you're saying about the team. I need the manager that can actually develop those young players into those people.
But it also, at the same time, and this is why I keep saying this as well, the players that we have already equally have the qualities. It's not like they're being nurtured like a Dele Alli where they've just come from MK Dons and
Which one have the quality?
What, you're telling me that Enzo Fernandez had no quality?
Yeah, but that's one person, man. That's not a 11.
Now Felix doesn't like. These are all quality players. People know them. You know, they're established. It's just
that's not a quality. That's a prospect.
No, but that's getting the best out of them in a system. To get the best out of their quality, you have to have a system in place, right?
Okay, Enzo, who else? Enzo and who else?
Right? What Spurs did, what we saw with Dele Alli, for example, wasn't a player that came with loads of quality. It was a player that was merged into a quality player by Poch. It's different. It's a different to what we have now. What I'm saying is the quality is already there, as with that Spurs team, Harry Kane.
But that's what my argument to you. Poch never had that. Poch never had that luxury in his career.
To manage their qualities. The quality's there. It's just having a system that.
That's what I'm saying.
Out.
But how you can criticize him if he never that privilege?
It's different. That's what I'm saying.
Jim, who else?
He never had privilege by back-end owners. Where? Poch, what team did he have back of the owners?
No, he didn't have no backing from Spurs. No, I agree.
Any club.
Spurs. I don't know about PSG, but he had.
No, he did not have any backing from Daniel Levy. He didn't buy nobody in 2 years.
But anyway, my point is the quality's there at Chelsea. So what we need is a manager that's going to implement a system that's progressive for us moving forward and consistent. That's all I'm saying. That's all. It's not about finding the quality in a player because the quality's there. It's
develop the quality in that player.
We know that
you need to develop that quality in a higher way. He has the quality, but you need to develop that quality, Jim.
Like Jem, everything you've just described is literally in your face. Pochettino has proved that he can do that at a smaller level as well. It's literally in your face.
Don, I was going to ask you this question for quite a bit of time since you're probably more knowledgeable than everyone else on here. You explained about 30, I would say around 30 minutes ago. You were saying something around being in the right environment and talking about his weaknesses and stuff. And I was going to ask you this since I was asked Alex this, I've asked Andrew this. What do you think of his weaknesses? Are they not concerning to you? Because it was addressed about his low blocks issues, his tactical inflexibility and stuff like that. Do they not concern you? And as well, do you see Chelsea being the right environment for him?
Yeah,
because
no,
you did say that he was not in the right environment, any of them. I don't see how his weaknesses or the environment would help him in this scenario.
Yeah. I mean, look, Tottenham speaks for themselves. Like, if you go to Tottenham, you know that you're not going to get fully backed. It's a similar situation to what the Glazers are like. They're just terrible owners. They're not going to give you the full backing that you need. Like Alex just said, this guy didn't sign anyone for what? 2 years. A lot of the players that he had are still there now. By the way, they're still there now, right? So if he's doing what he's doing with literally no budget whatsoever, he was literally getting them to challenge, getting them to a UCL final. Tottenham Football Club, right? Got to a final, yeah, in the Champions League with no budget. So what sort of environment is that? He's obviously going to walk into an environment now where he's going to get the backing, the money's there. And like I said, there's a proper structure now where he doesn't have to worry too much about the recruitment. Of course, there'll be a few things that he'll need to sign off on. But in terms of the overall environment, he's going to get the backing that's needed.
But my question is, does his weaknesses not concern you a little bit, since they are major weaknesses of Chelsea Football Club as well?
Say that again, Hassan?
I said, does his weaknesses not concern you, because it kind of echoes the weaknesses at Chelsea, like the tactical inflexibility of, and the breaking down of low blocks, which I know that a lot of our managers have struggled.
Who started that one? Hey, you gotta remember this, yeah. Poch's.
No. I said I literally said just after, which a lot of our managers have problems.
Sorry, correcting you, but I've heard it like a million times today. I was just gonna. Sorry, I know I suggested here. I was just gonna quickly say that. Come on. Oh, sorry. Everyone watches Poch's style and realizes that it suits more youth. Like, even if he gets the resources, he's probably going to buy that high energy type player. He probably just has everything there that he needs. He probably doesn't even need it that much. That's why he does well at these lower clubs, right? And bringing in some player that, you know, he's great and doesn't fit the tag. You're just going to see a high energy game. He's got an endless supply of young players that he can just throw in. No one's going to get fatigued. We can play a high intensity game. It's going to be more simple, and it's just going to look like, you know, it's just runners. But that's how he did well, right? And it's a start. After that, he can progress, right? And he can get better and whatnot. But the main thing is about getting these players to play, right? And getting them developed. That's the most important thing. And it's not just the couple players, right? It's an endless supply. The whole structure is based on recruitment. That all these players are known for. They're not even known for winning trophies. They're known for finding gems and players.
That's exactly.
Gems.
Hassan,
I just one last thing, Hassan.
Did you just drop yourself?
Let Don finish my question. Because
No,
you're gonna have to wait till next episode, huh? Sorry.
No, bro, you guys dragged it out so long.
The thing is, Jeff, I'm gonna repeat. I'm gonna repeat what Couch said earlier, because Couch pretty much said the same thing. Declared has pretty much answered it as well, Hassan. There's not really much more I can add to it, really. But what I will say,
but the real gem is here is Alex.
When it comes to things that you see online, take things that you see online with a pinch of salt, because I'm seeing a lot of people are just sort of saying things that they see online and they don't understand it themselves, especially when it comes to Pochettino. Do a little bit of research. Again, when it comes to him actually being here, and when it comes to the tactics, if we do see he's struggling with low blocks over here, we can have a deeper conversation. But I look at his strengths a lot more right now than his weaknesses, because he has a lot of strengths that we need right now. Every manager is going to have weaknesses. Do you know what I mean? And people are going to find them if you look for them. But it seems like not a lot of people are looking for Poch's positives. So that's how
I actually understand Jem's point of view. I do think the recent problem with Poch is going to be the actual fans, not the Poch himself. It's going to be the fans.
You're right. And it's going to be a shit preseason. So I think that preseason's going to carry over to the start of the season.
Right. Are we going to Australia? Are we going to Australia? That's why we're going to have a shit preseason?
Alex, right now, what it is with Poch.
Hey, you guys better come if they come here.
It's actually right now. I know Poch has got to win over the fans, right? Because there's a lot of skeptical fans. But if you think about it,
I think it's not. We're not going to give him as much time as the other managers.
Okay, I get that. I get that.
People will turn.
I get that. But what I'm saying is, if you think about it, we've been starved of good football under Thomas Tuchel. By the way, we've been starved of good football for a long time, and we've been in the mud for so long. So if you actually think about it, if Poch brings some sort of progressive style of play and slight improvement, it's going to go down quite well with a lot of the fans.
No, that's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is needs to get 3 points. He needs to win.
No.
It doesn't matter how he has to win.
progressive and results. Like I said, it's a result-based business.
No,
But
results
we need
first. You can results first. For him not to get sacked, he needs to have results.
Perform. He needs to perform. That's what he needs to do. He needs to make. This is what I'm saying to you. The problem solving in between games, understanding that it will get hard with these players because
I think those fans already saw Kai Havertz hit the post 50 times. Felix hit the post 25,000 times. I think we saw enough progressive football. I think we need to see the actual 3 points at this time.
The question, exactly. Have we got the killer instinct? Can we install a killer instinct in our game, which we've not had for fucking donkey years? Like, we're going to have Nkunku coming in. He's going to, we've got to create for him. He will score goals. Are we going to get another striker?
That's what I'm saying.
So we said that with Felix, and he marked every spot on that goal.
I didn't say that.
Like
Felix.
a dog,
I
man.
didn't want
He literally peeing every inch of that thing, marking it.
I didn't want.
That's
Felix.
what I'm saying. So as long as he's getting results, like I said, because of how far deep we are in the mud. Again, like I said, it's going to be a big thing for him. So
let's see.
We're not in the mud. We're in the sheet.
We're in the shiznit.
I just want to see a play style. That's it. I don't even care about the results at the moment.
guys. Smash the like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. 2 hours and 15 minutes. I am going Madrid on Thursday, so I won't be around till Monday next week. So just let you guys know.
I thought we already out of Champions League.
Yeah, but I'm going to.
Yeah, didn't know we're out, Jay.
Jem's far behind one. Wow. He doesn't know we lost here. Don't tell him the score.
Are we on casual FC stream or something?
Is it Chelsea playing tomorrow or Wednesday? I thought it was Wednesday.
No, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're playing against Madrid.
Are you Chelsea stream channel or what?
Is anyone even watching that, man? I'm watching the City.
No, it's on BT. It's on BT over here.
We might do a match preview tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm watching Chelsea. I ain't watching that Arsenal. What the fuck?
No, I'm joking. I'll have both of them on. I'm gonna have both of them on.
Yeah,
I'm watching both.
Yeah, you fat fuck. You can watch.
Guys, see you later. Take care. See you in a bit. Enjoy the rest of yourselves. I'll be back. There's not much to get excited about Chelsea in the league, so we might do a preview or not. I don't know.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fuck it.
Okay, you can watch 2 games at once. By the way, just
subscribe if you're new.